Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, TikTok family. Welcome, YouTube family. We're going to have another chat today. Try to come here as much as often and share things with you. I'm not big on making videos, but I sure can come here and do a live stream with you guys. Hello, hello. Welcome, you guys. We're going to be having a very interesting topic today. Welcome, TikTok family. Welcome, YouTube family. We're going to be having a very interesting topic today. Uh, I'm trying to plan some things out too. Hey, Tina Cole. Hey, sweetie. I'm trying to plan some things out with for this gentleman that knows a lot about African spirituality. Uh, one of our YouTube subscriber want us to have a discussion about Obia. So I'm still trying to work some things out with him. Maybe that'll happen Friday. I'm not sure, but I'm trying to get the itinerary together so I can address some of the key questions about Obia, so he can talk about those things. So we're still going over our itinerary, how we want that live stream to look when we have that Obia discussion. So be looking out for that. I'm still working on that. But today, again, we just covered a beautiful book yesterday or today for some of you about the healing power of hoodoo. Okay, what is the name of our book? The Healing Power of African American Spirituality. Okay, very good book. It has some very great highlights in the book, and one of the things that intrigued me, and I think, and I've talked about this before, are the trees. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that today, and we're going to talk about the archetypes because when I'm telling you that you already have ancestral memory in you. And I know a lot of you are saying, how does that work? How are we getting passed down this information? And I tell you, it's a collective consciousness. Again, we're going to dive a little bit in that today and kind of help you understand our relationship with nature, um, the relationship with the archetypes and the collective consciousness, kind of helping you understand how that works and how you participate in it, whether you are doing it consciously or unconsciously. Hi, Jericho. Hello, Tina. Hello, Africa No Hyphen. Hey, peace and greetings and love and gratitude to each one that is coming in the live streams today. And you know me, I'm going to break it down for you. Love talking about these subjects, but we just again just got through, and you guys have that lecture and the book in there because I've always give you a book with the lecture. uh I always do that. So if you haven't looked at that book, go look in that book. Very good book is by Stephanie Bird. She's written several, she's an author of several books. So um she's very well rounded in the spiritual sciences. So go check that book out. If you have not reviewed that book in there or listened to the lecture, I recommend that you go and do that. And of course, you're going to get some more insight here today as I talk about it and go into the discussion. So, across the African and indigenous cultures, the idea of shared spiritual psychological matrix, what Carl Jung coined as collective conscious, the collective unconscious. It's not a theory, but a lived reality. So again, we have this collective unconscious, and where does it live? It lives in our DNA. It lives in our, again, our subconscious. Remember me telling you, um, especially through women's DNA, we're already in our mother, and our children are already in us when we're in our mother, and it that lineage just keeps going on. So, and the mother passed on a lot of this, these archetypes and a lot of this collective unconscious in the DNA memory. It's still there. And see, they did this, when they were looking at this and looking at how our ancestors show up within us. They start to do this study first on women. Okay. They start to do this study first on women, understanding the science, our science and how things was passed on. I'm gonna stop there because I don't want to get on a soapbox. Okay. Within these traditions, collective consciousness is expressed through myth, ritual, ancestral veneration, and oral storytelling. It is a visible web that connects generations, preserving ancient wisdom through genetic memory, songs, sacred stories. This interconnectedness awareness is not simply culture; it is biological, emotional, and spiritual, echoing the soul of the people through time. And so you can actually see this through some of our music. Even though I wasn't born into 72, I love 70s music. Okay. We love the beat. We are naturally attracted to certain types of genres of songs in our culture. That's another way that you're tapping into the collective unconscious as well. When you listen to the music, you're looking at ancestors through time as well in some of their music. You saw a little bit of it in Sinners. Remember, he was playing that guitar. Not only was he calling forth um, ancestors of the past, but he was calling his descendants, his ancestors of the future in there. Very interesting. I know it is very interesting. A seeker of now. So again, when our ancestors go to telling us stories, and every story they have told us, every archetype, every song is still embedded in our DNA. You ever know a song and didn't know how you knew the song, but you weren't even paying attention to the song, and there you go singing every word of the song, and you was not trying to learn the words of the song, but yet you know the song. Does that help you understand that? you know, they program you again with the collective of conscious. Now, some of these people they're doing this stuff. They know what they're doing, and they're putting stuff in there that shouldn't be in there. That's clouding a lot of our communication with our ancestors. Me too. I love the Jackson Five and the Earth, Wind, and Fire. Again, they're connecting you again with those ancestors. That music does that. Okay, and your music is very powerful because it crosses over. Most of our music is going to cross over to and bleed over into other cultures. They're going to be playing your music. It's going, you'll see your music get a lot of international play. Okay, funk music too. Yeah. Okay, that's very important because it is linking you back with your ancestors. I know you don't think so, but you'll start to understand this when you be start to use music as a medium in your work. Okay. Archetypes are fed to the collective consciousness through cultural expression. I just said that. Each story, myth, song, ritual acts as a vessel that encodes and preserves the archetypical energy. This is going to be stuck in there. Even though I wasn't, I was just a baby, probably in my mama's womb when Marvin Gaye came out, but I love Marvin Gaye. That's just like my daughter. I had her in the 90s and she loved 90s music. She was playing old 90s and music and all that stuff. Even though they wasn't born in that time, they still connecting in that era. Is that making sense to you? I love music from the 70s, 80s when I was growing up. Raggedy Magic Mike. Okay. We start connecting with those ancestors and with those memories. I remember one time I was telling my mom something, and I was telling her what they was doing, what I remember. And she says there's no way you could have remembered that. You were a baby. No way you could have remembered that. But I remembered that. It shocked her. I had a friend of mine's that she was telling her mom about something, and she said, "Yeah, mom, I was there when the house burnt down. I was there when the house burnt down and people was getting out the house." And she said her mama started crying, and she was like, "Why you crying?" She was like, "Because you weren't even born yet." She had that DNA memory yet she was not born yet, but she had the memory, described it and everything. And her mom had to tell her, "You was not born yet. You're not even supposed to know that story." But yet she knew every, she knew all the details about that story and she was not there. Okay? And maybe you have experienced a DNA memory. I know I have of it, I see some of it in myself, even with some of the things that demeanors and stuff that my mom had, you know, you say you don't want to be like them, but then when you start watching yourself and your etiquette and your mannerism, it's a lot like them. Okay? That DNA memory is just gonna be in there, just like our dance, our music, and all of that. They can try to lie to you about your history and all that stuff, but the proof it's already in DNA. You can't take that out of us. You can hide stuff. You can put lies in books, but honey, the land ain't gonna lie and DNA don't lie. We gonna constantly them ancestors gonna keep on coming forth in us. It's just in us. You keep on lying, you can keep on trying to indoctrinate us, you can keep on trying to do that stuff, but the proof is in the DNA. We are our ancestors. It's gonna come out. Okay, you can't kill it. You can try to kill it with a pen and a paper if you want to. Ain't gonna do you no good because that the ancestors still gonna come on out of us. It's just in there. You can't mess that up. Okay, you can't miss that. And so when you hear our ancestors retell the stories of the Great Mother, Marie Laveau, or any of these other um, people in our culture that had a significant impact on our culture, again, they are programming you with the archetypes. They reinforce the energies in the group, in the site. Through centuries of repetition, these figures become psychological, spiritual realities that live within everyone. And there they are. They're there. They start putting that's why I'll go through this again. That's why they thoroughly told you a story about how John the Conqueror and Brown Rabbit. Why they're telling you this? They're telling you too, you have to be smart. It made us smart with dealing with our environment. What was they telling you about how John the Conqueror? He was very smart in how he was dealing with these people around him. And we had to have that same type of intelligence when dealing with our oppression. So they were also too helping us, giving us information on how to deal with that environment outside of us. What they say, you need to become a high John the Conqueror. You need to become witty, really smart, beat the oppressor at his own game, because you already know how he is. When you know your oppressor, you know how to move around him. You know how to keep your dignity. That's what high John the Conqueror represents. The mastery of self, because he had to have mastery of self if he's going to be around no people. He need to know how to respond and regulate his emotions. He had all that. That's how John the Conqueror. He can get out of any situation. He ain't scared of nothing. He don't start nothing, but if you put his hands on him, he gonna make you wish you hadn't. We saw that with Frederick. Was that with Frederick Douglass? Okay. So again, when they're telling you this story, they're implanting the archetype in you. Now how John the Conqueror, the spirit, lives within you. Okay? When they're telling us these stories, how John the Conqueror, did I spell that correctly? Yep, you spelled it correctly, seeker of no. So when they're telling you this story of Marie Laveau, Dr. Buzzard, Bishop Mason, again, now these archetypes are living within us because it's in the collective consciousness of their ancestors. Okay, just like those affinity ancestors that we talk about, those affinity ancestors, we know them because they are in the collective consciousness of the ancestral realm. Is this making sense to you? That's how archetypes get bedded in there. We can go even further, seeing which archetypes role do they play, because you got some of our ancestors, they embodied the rebel archetype. They would be like Tupac, Asada Shakur, these people that are real activists. Okay, what is her name? Amanda Seal would fall up in the rebel, because a lot of people don't like her, but she's a matter of fact when she opened her mouth. That's the rebel. They not here to like nobody. They here to do the work of the ancestors. They don't give a damn about what nobody think. They know what they talking about. They looking at everything. They're gonna hold you accountable, and they're gonna be accountable too. You see that a lot of people don't like Amanda Sears, but again, she's very, very articulate. I kind of think she has a lot of a hint of autism and neurodivergence when I start seeing the way her mind working when she be speaking. So again, she's just like she held her ground when she had that podcast with all them people up there, and she was telling them like, you ain't from here, you don't know our struggle, so you can't come in and tell us what to do because you ain't been here. What are you talking about? I don't. None of y'all are originally from here. All y'all conservatives are from somewhere else telling us about what we doing. And she went up against all those people. Only the ancestors could help her do that. That woman was standing in God and she was standing on the shoulders of the ancestors. That's how she was able to do that. Okay, that's how she was able to do that. She had 5 or 6 people she was debating against, and she had more. She had more knowledge, intelligence in her pinky than some of them had in their whole body because they wasn't making no sense. Okay, so you see somebody like that, you may not even like them. That's not what they there for. That woman is doing the work again of the ancestors. She not here to compromise and play nice with anyone. She's staying true to her mission, and I think that makes a lot of people mad because they can't distract her from her mission. She's not going to compromise, her mission, and she wants to know. That's just how she is. And for some people, she's too direct and it offends people because atypical people like Bush, brown nose and beating around the corner and all that stuff. I'm direct too. I don't know how to beat around the bush with you. I don't know how to do that with you. I don't. If I tell you what it is and that's what I mean. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Why would I do that? So you can misinterpret something. And that's what happens with a lot of atypicals that like beating around the bush, giving these vague explanations and all this sort of stuff instead of just coming out saying it. That's the problem right there. And so with a person like us that is direct, neurodivergent, and artistic, we might be off-putting you because we don't believe in all that. We just don't think like that. Okay, we're very direct. We mean what we say what we mean, and that's off-putting to people. Okay. How do you neutralize the energy of problematic ancestors, especially those who force their way into the bloodline? I would say start doing some healing work around that, doing some shadow work around that if that is going on. And make sure you don't have any family members on there that's linked to those problematic ancestors. And see, people put family members up there when people talk about ancestral veneration, but that's just you can't. And a lot of our family was sick in their mind and their spirit, okay? And a lot of them was tired and weary when they passed over. Folks just tired and weary. I wouldn't put them on the altar. I would only put my most elevated ancestors on there. If you put your most elevated ancestors on there, you won't come in contact with problematic ancestors. And if your ancestral communication is still not clear, that means you need to move out some stuff in your line because again, you inherited that trauma. You just come with trauma. I have to explain that to people. I have to explain that to my community. Instead of people coming up here showing you spells, you need to understand just like you inherited magic, you inherited trauma. And behind that inherited trauma is all the gifts and the magic. But you got to be willing to do the work to uncover the magic. It's just how it works, you guys. Three of my ancestors introduced myself to me by name last week. I'm a tell you about it later. Okay. Okay, Tina. Don't put them on there. Miss Penny, this is off topic, but the other day when you were talking about how ancestors could influence animals in nature, it made me think of this autobiography, The Life of the Adventure of Henry Bibb. Huh. Could he talk to animals or something? Because a lot of ancestors could talk to animals and stuff, just like that story Tarzan. You think that actually was a pale first person that started? Uh-uh. I remember my mom and them telling me about that. They were so upset about it when that show Tarzan was out, and I was overhearing her and my uncle talk. And honey, they was, they got on their little soapbox like we do when we talk about the oppressor. And they said, they was talking back and forth, and they said, my mama said they need to stop lying because the real Tarzan was a black man. The real Tarzan ain't no white man in no woods like that talking to no animals and stuff like that. The real person that was doing that was a black man. I mean, they were just dropping, and I was kind of young, and I was like, oh my God, they were dropping knowledge on each other, and I was just sitting there listening. I was like, I did not know that. But in the privacy of our own homes, and some of you, we had another history. We had to get the real history from our mothers and fathers. Why the folks is sitting up here telling you a lie? So why would they give you something that was true? And then you got to go home and listen to your folks, and they have to break that down for you so you don't be thinking that. Okay, I inherited both ways trauma from my mother and father. Gee, shit. Me too. We get it. Okay, nobody comes out unscathed. That's why I be telling people you think there ain't nothing wrong with you, honey. Your ancestors been through so much. Get somewhere and sit down and heal, baby. Cause you want your magic to be fire. Let's heal that, and let's use hoodoo to do it. Because when you using hoodoo to do it, you're creating an intimate, deeper relationship with your ancestors. You're using the magic and healing modalities they left you to get yourself back in alignment. That's how it works. Okay. He was enslaved American that escaped 3 times. Did I hear something like that? I was hearing somebody talk about something about the first, and I had never heard about him, but she was talking about this first slave that escaped, and he's an archetype in African American spirituality, and she says he usually show up if you're in a bad situation and you start seeing shadows and things like that, shadows running across your eye or in your peripheral. She says him telling you to get the hell up out of there. I forgot the name of the ancestor she was talking about. But she was talking about him being the first runaway slave ever. Okay, he was enslaved. I bet that's an interesting read. A lot of our ancestors have some interesting read, especially when I look at a lot of people don't talk about John Horse, but John Horse is something else, baby. John Horse wasn't no joke. They had to get that man in there. They had to hire that man to train their soldiers because that man with a small hand of people was defeating the United States Army. Then went over to Mexico and taught them warfare as well, and they started defeating the United States Army. Until the United States Army said, "We just gonna have to hire this man because this man right here, he's bad. You know what I'm saying? We need this man." Okay, so he went in and I hate, our ancestors just didn't have no peace. Okay, but a lot of people don't talk about John Horse. I think that's an ancestor that I would call on as a warrior if I had any trouble. Cause, honey, that's the only man that I see in history that wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid of them. He was putting them on their back. He wasn't playing with them. Okay, we need to re-strengthen the connection with animals and nature. Exactly, and that's why we're coming here. We just thoroughly covered nature over there in our community. We went over water spirits. We went over air spirits. We went over fire spirits, went over all those things and broke them down to help you understand why we have the water, fire, and all those elements in hoodoo, and why hoodoo or root work looks a lot like elemental magic. So when you look at elemental magic, that's the name they call it, y'all. Okay, I'm just gonna call it that because that's gonna help you understand things, and you'll know when you're starting to read things and trying to educate yourself what are the topics you need to be looking for. So when you're looking at elemental magic, when you're looking at animism, root work, again, that is root work. Okay, elemental magic is root work. That's what elemental magic. That's what they're explaining to you. And there's a lot of elemental magic, animism in root work. Okay, and so we broken that down for you. No open mind, no answer you will find. That's exactly right, Gerald. Gerald just said that. No open mind, no answer you will find. So your mind ain't open and you're studying doubting. that this is going on, then you're closing yourself out to the spiritual realm. That's all you doing. That's all you doing. Okay? Yes, most definitely. Okay. So again, we just got through talking about nature, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit today. Okay, so when you start hearing them, and that trips me out, and I got to get on this, Lord, because I got to talk about it, y'all. But when we start hearing stories of Ifa, that's why I say I don't know why that surprises them, because we're we're hearing stories of Ifa. You're telling us about Oshun. You're telling us about Ogun. We're reading about it. Then you're telling us about Papa Legba, Azerli Frida. You're telling us about, and when you're telling us this, because it's already in our DNA, you are giving us the archetype in the collective consciousness. It's already in our DNA. It's already in there. You start to see that it's already in there. It doesn't change because you're not in the religion. These collective archetypes are still going to be in your DNA because it's ancestral. Okay, so every time they telling you a story, they chanting, uh, you're listening to music, you talking about them. Again, they're doing number, they're number encoded messages. Okay? It's not gonna do nothing but activate that DNA. And some people say I start dreaming about them and I start doing this and I start doing that. Yeah, because they're already in your collective unconscious. They're already in there. That's when I see them telling us what we can and can't do. What are you talking about? These are our ancestors we're talking about here. You don't own these spirits. Get that out your mind. You got a religion. That's what you got, but you don't own these spirits. It's very hard because spirits work with a variety of people. They work with a variety of people. You don't own them. You have an agreement with them in your religion. That's what that is. Don't get it twisted. I had somebody in my box today. Now the man said he looked through my page. Another Babaloa, you guys, in Ifa. Ifa people, you got to stop it. Stop soliciting in people box. Stop making tell me you get an Ifa, your life be so much better. You selling that just like the United States selling us a dream, the American dream. Stop it. Ifa is not that. It's a disrespect of the sake. I had to tell him. He was telling me, well, Ifa do this, eat that. And I said, sir, I'm in Hoodoo. I follow ancestors and Hoodoo here my whole life. Hoodoo is a way of life. Tell my Ifa is a way of life. Hoodoo is a way of life too. I'm gonna let y'all know about Hoodoo. Hoodoo is a way of life. Is it a journey? Hoodoo will fix your life. It'll heal you. It is an intimate relationship with your ancestors. They teach you, they guide you, they pour wisdom into you. It is a sacred walk with your ancestors and a way of life. I'm doing the same thing you doing, but it ain't no religion. I got the same thing happening to me that you say that's gonna happen to me in Ifa. It's happening to me right here in Hoodoo. It's happening because I do the work. Now you sitting up here selling me a story. You ain't said nothing about the ancestors. You trying to sell me a religion and then make it look like it's more important than the spiritual practices that my ancestors created. I ain't doing that to you. I'm not in your box trying to sell you hoodoo. I'm over here busy trying to help my community understand the spiritual science of their ancestors and how it can heal their whole damn life. That's what I'm doing. What are you doing? You never offered to pray for me or nothing like that. You're soliciting me into a religion. I don't get in people's box and try to solicit hoodoo to people because I know hoodoo is a way of life. If you know that, why the hell you jumping in my box? Why are you trying to solicit people in there? Because people is not ready for that lifestyle. You need to tell people they're gonna have to do ebos and might have to mess with some live chickens or something like that. I don't know, but they're gonna have to be coming up out some money. It's a way of life. They're gonna need all the money they can to be paying their God's parents and all this stuff to do rituals and stuff for them. Have you got fruit trees on your public walkways for poor and needy people? They got coconut trees everywhere around here. And food not that expensive. Food is not that expensive here in Thailand. Okay, but they got coconut trees everywhere, and I've seen a few banana trees. So you will see some fruit trees in different places. Okay, but that guy jumped in my hi Antoinette Williams. So that guy jumped in there. I don't know why they keep doing that. You cannot bamboozle me. I'm gonna let the evil people know right now. If you're watching this video, share it with them. You cannot bamboozle me out of my ancestors. I'm not going to put I'm not going to put a religion above the ancestors. Nothing is more important than the ancestors. Nothing goes above the ancestors but God. That's it. That's it. They are the ones who created the religion. What are you doing? Stop trying to sell Ether. You sound like this Christianity. We trying to get away from the man asking folks for money that they ain't have $2,000. They got to get out of line. Stop doing that. You turning something sacred so beautiful in some ugly and raggedy. That's what you doing with that. You making that look raggedy. Get in somebody's box and pray for them. Let them see the fruits of the spirits instead of saying when you get over here, you're going to be in heaven. That's what you telling folks. Basically, what you telling folks. And stop it. Because you're making it look raggedy and you're making it look ugly. And if you got some real genuine people in there doing it, sit them folks down somewhere. Tell them to sit down somewhere and be quiet. Slow down on initiating people just because they got some money. Make sure they doing the real character work. Hey, Tavidge. Okay. Thank you, sweetie. Welcome, welcome, YouTube family and TikTok family. And getting in boxes like that, you know they don't make no sense. You know they ain't supposed to be in nobody box trying to solicit nothing. You sound just like you're trying to sell heaven, just like them Christian people. Y'all done went into that. That's how you look. That's how you sound. I gotta tell you, maybe you'll stop it. I don't see no hoodoo practitioners jumping in people's box telling them to come in the hoodoo. Ain't nobody doing that but y'all religious folks. You do stuff like that. And you forgot hoodoo ain't no religion. It is a spiritual practice. And we deeply follow our ancestors' guidance. All the wisdom and magic and all that come directly from our ancestors. Now, if our ancestors drag us over there and say, we want you to be in Ifa, we do that. If our ancestors say, we want you to work with this Orisha and Loa, we're going to show you how to do it, we do that. And you can't be mad about that either because who we follow? Our ancestors. You can't be mad about that because that's who created your practice is the ancestors. Y'all, I don't know. Are you forgetting about that? See, y'all take the ancestors. That's why that church over there regular now, because they took hoodoo out the church. They got rid of the ancestors, and now the church over there regular as they can be. Just toe up. Folks running out of there. Don't even want to be bothered with them folks because they know they regular. Now you acting just like them damn folks now. That's why I don't like religion. I love hoodoo because I don't have to make a choice. And if I want to know, my ancestors gonna teach me, and you can't be mad either. Because that's who taught you your religion. All of them are ancestral. Y'all trip me out with this stuff. You trip me out. That's why I got to think you're doing something with that initiation. What are y'all doing in those initiation? What kind of spirits are you creating in pacts you are creating in those initiation? Because you act like something wrong with you. What are you doing? You shouldn't even be working with no Orisha, none of that if you ain't got yourself right with your ancestors because you get over here. You know way. Your ancestors, you get over there and you start exploiting people and all that stuff. Ain't no way the ancestors in there, because if your ancestors is in there, they'll be sitting your butt down and then not allowing you to do raggedy stuff like that. You got all about that. You know, get out, stay out of my box. 'Cause this ain't what you want, player. This is not what you want. Because I'm gonna put them ancestors in front of your face every time. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be talking about the ancestors, how Hoodoo heal your life. Tell me how Ifa heal your life. Tell me how Ifa changed your character. Tell me that instead of trying to sell me heaven through Ifa. I'm done with that. So please stay out of my box. And sit here and sit in my live stream and get in my box. Are you crazy? I love Ifa. I love Voodoo. I love all the ATRs. I think they're beautiful, and I see our ancestors and how they expressed it and preserved our knowledge. I have an affinity for it. Do you? Or you just in there for power to see what you can get out of the religion? Like these prosperity preachers and stuff. That's how y'all look. That's how you look when you're trying to initiate folks. And you know damn well everybody ain't supposed to be initiating there. You're supposed to be praying for people, doing doing some, helping them with some work when they come to you. When you see something, pray for them. Attract the, use your magnetism. Use your, because you say Orisha do all that. Use that power. Use your magnetism. If it's really power, you will be attracting members. That's what I'm saying, Tavidge. So much karmic deck, shadow work, etc. needed to be done for Orishas. Don't play. Don't go over there. That's I had somebody in my box today said, well, Miss Penny, this is in my chart. I did an astro read and all that. And she saw some water spirits in her chart. And I said, okay, so before we even do that, we want to get our ancestral veneration together first. You don't even want to do that, contact that spirit there, water spirit, until you get your ancestral veneration together, because it ain't gonna do you no good, because you're gonna understand what the spirit's saying, because your spiritual communication is cloudy. And the only people can gonna be able to help you with that is with the angels and your ancestors and the saints. That's it. Before you start jumping over there and start trying to talk to Oshun, Azurli Frida, and all these other people, you're gonna have to get your communication line open with your ancestors. They need to help you with that. You don't need to go outside of that. Matter of fact, you don't need to be trying to get in nothing. Ifa, if you're trying to, you think one day you want to get into one of these ATRs, have your ancestors communication together first. Because what happens, people don't have no ancestors communication going on, and they're going to take advantage of you. They're going to take advantage of you because they know you ain't got no insight. You don't know nothing because you didn't walk in there with your ancestors. You didn't say, my ancestors sent me here. You didn't wait till the ancestors line it up right. You went to looking for power instead of standing where you was and trying to work on you. You weren't interested in working on you. You were more interested in trying to seek power. That's what people jump over there because that's what they selling. You know, I want to work with my more powerful ancestors. Do you really want to do that? See, you don't know what you asking for. Do you really want to do that? Because that means you're gonna do some work. That means you're ready to get your ego and all that stuff together. And you think you're gonna get some money, but baby, no, you're not. These spirits not interested in this material world. That's what you think. But you ain't gonna get that. And if you want that power, you're gonna earn every bit of it. You're gonna be following those spirits, and they're gonna be putting some tests in front of you. So you make sure that's what you really want. Okay, you saying you want power, but with much of that power comes a lot of self-discipline and self-mastery. And some of us ain't there. I can't even say I'm there because I still struggle with some things from time to time. I'm not where I was, but I'm not where I want to be. So the work continues. Okay, this is a way of life. This ain't nothing nobody wake up and just Ifa people. You need to learn about Hoodoo. We know about Ifa. This is a way of life for our ancestors. This ain't no fly-by type of thing. We're constantly in contact with our ancestors. Okay, we don't work with a spirit until our ancestors tell us to do it. Did your ancestors tell you to get over there and do that? Did they? Because it don't sound like it. Ain't nowhere in the world your ancestors got you out here being raggedy like this. Ain't nowhere in the world. Okay? So just stop and stay out of my box. Stop trying to solicit that. It's very unattractive and unbecoming. Just stop it. Okay? I don't know where your godparents at. I don't know where your house at. I don't know what's going on with y'all. Because 20 or 30 years ago, y'all wasn't doing this. You wasn't doing this. And I just think this is an initiation frenzy going on over there. Everybody initiated don't need to be over there. Your ancestors ain't called you to be over there, and you know darn well they ain't. You over there because of power, and that's the wrong thing to jump over there for. And most of them don't get it. They like just get more raggedy because they go jump over there with the wrong intentions. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Know your intentions wrong. You up here trying to sell heaven. That's basically what you're doing. You soliciting the religion. No different from Christian and Mormon and Jehovah Witness people knocking on people door, getting on their nerves. So it ain't no different than that. It ain't no different than that. And if you really want somebody to be attracted to Ether, y'all jumping in people's box, go make you a live stream and talk about it. But y'all ain't gonna break that down to a science like I'm breaking hoodoo down to a science. Never heard not get over there and break it down to a science and talk about it. Articulate. If you love Ether so much and it's so good to you, go over there and open your mouth like I'm opening my mouth and articulate the science behind the religion. Talk about how it changed your life. Go over there and talk. Go do that and stay out of people's inbox. Show people what's going on with it, like I'm showing people what's going on with it. Well, what my ancestors did. Do that. Okay, but stay out, folks. But stop trying to exploit us. We know what land our ancestors had already had power in them. They were standing on the American land, and I think too, y'all, some of y'all think y'all spiritually superior to us, and you're not. We talk about the same ancestors, so don't get it twisted. I think some of you that are in Africa, and I'm not trying to, ruffle no feathers, but I think you're superior to us, but you're not. Because we had ancestors over here that had power in this hoodoo, so don't get it twisted. We had great shamans and healers right there in the Americas. Don't get it twisted. So I think y'all think that, but that's not true. Don't get that twisted. I think you think that, and then we don't make it better because we go right over there following them, get over there and get ourselves in the pickle and can't get out. We done got over there, but then our ancestors didn't even send us over there. But they just sold us a heaven and told us we gonna have some power and all that when we get over there. And you find out you get over there and be ragged as hell. Because your ancestors told you not to get over. Your ancestors didn't tell you to get over there. You're doing it wrong. You can't don't do it. I'm telling you, that ain't the way. These spirit. You better be trying to fix your life. And you get into spirituality trying to get the power, you're gonna get yourself bound up with a spirit that you don't want to be with. You're gonna get yourself in something you ain't gonna want to be in. Okay, you're gonna be making pacts and stuff with spirit. You be careful what you're doing. A lot of people jumping up over there. There's got to be what's going on over there. The way y'all act when somebody start, communicating with the Orisha or the lords, y'all get mad because they ain't initiated. Now, because you made a pact. You made an agreement. That's not what we doing. We don't even do that like that over here in Hoodoo. We don't even approach spirits not like that. We got our own way. And it works. It's been working, and you can't say it worked because there's been too many ancestors that have done it this way and it worked. So, I don't know what to tell you with that. Get somewhere and sit down and think about it. Can't help it because it's in my blood. Can't help it. You got it in yours too. Can't help it. Okay, Miss Penny came to set them straight today. I'm just tired of them California forever 444 getting in my box like that and acting like, we don't know. They try to act like African Americans, we don't know who we are. We know who we are. We know the power and the structure and spiritual science that our ancestors created. We know who we are. You're not more than us. because you stayed in connection with the tradition. You're not better than us. Okay, so don't go come up. Now, if you want to show me something, you want to share something with me, do that. If you really want to heal the people, but it's supposed to be about healing the people. That's why hoodoo was created, to protect us, to heal us, to keep us whole. Let me see that with Ifa. Let me see you demonstrate that in your life in Ifa. Don't talk about it, be about it. I want to hear you talking. Not like that. Not trying to sell that to me like that. I don't want to hear that. Show me what you got going on there. Articulate your experience over there, because that's what I'm doing. I come here and talk to my community about hoodoo. I break it all the way down to remove all the, deception, misconception, misinformation, misleading information. You should be doing the same. But y'all don't do that. You know, I can't wait. Ancestors, please fix it. Please fix it. Ancestors, please fix it. That's all I can say. And so I pray that the ancestors fix it, honey. Like, that's what needs to happen, because y'all, I don't know what y'all doing over there. And you're doing a great job of it, because I'm learning too a lot. Oh, thank you, Seekers of Knowledge. We are very powerful, and that's why everyone is always coming for us. I don't know. It got to be pulling me over there, and then you think you better than somebody else, and you ain't. You know, you ain't. You got these the same ancestors. We got the same ancestors. Get that out your mind. You see me over here talking to whatever. See me over here talking to a Orisha, a Lord. Mind your own business. I wouldn't be doing it if the ancestors didn't tell me to do it. If the ancestors had showed me how to do it. Because you got ancestors to show you a whole ritual of how to connect with a spirit, and you be doing it right the whole time. And if you was to tell one of them, it'll trip them out how accurate you got it right. Because the ancestors told you to do it. That's why I said don't doubt them when they tell you to do something, because you're gonna be doing it right. And if they was to see it, they'd be like, damn, how did you know all that? Because the ancestors told me. I did it like that because they told me. So your religion doesn't restrict me from working with these spirits. Because if my ancestors want me to do that, and if these spirits come to me, they're gonna show me how to work with them. So I don't know how you think you own a spirit. I just make it. Now y'all, what y'all doing over there? I'm gonna get into that later. I don't even want to, I'm gonna get into that later. But that's what you're doing over there. You're making pacts, okay? You're making pacts and stuff, okay? I'll go through that later. But hey, get out of other people's business. Stay in your own business. Stay in your own lane. Uh, and if you're trying to do something good with Ifa, talk about that. But don't be bothering people and trying to exploit our people. Please don't do us like that. We've been through enough. We've been through so many people trying to exploit us and do us all kind of ways and all that stuff. And then y'all come over here with y'all stuff. We Please don't do it. And we not rich or nothing like that. Okay, I think y'all think we rich, and because we live in America, y'all can. I don't know what you think, but don't do us like that. We've been through too much. You're just dividing us even more with your raggedy stuff. That's all you're doing, and then you wonder why we don't want to be around y'all sometimes and stuff. And we love y'all, but you be doing raggedy stuff. You got to stop doing that. Okay. You got to stop doing that. We love y'all. We want to have a kinship with you. But when you try to exploit us and think you better than us, and you be trying to leech off us and take our identity and all that stuff, nah, don't nobody want to be around that. Okay? And it don't mean that we don't love you. You need to stay in your lane. Respect. Stop looking at us as your come up and your opportunity to exploit. Stop doing that. Now you can do that to them pale face people. You do that to them because they pay any kind of price to go up in there and do that, because that's what y'all been doing. But don't do it to us. Just stop it. Okay, that's all I'm saying about that. Stay out the box. Stay out the box. And most of y'all that I see the y'all in there, I don't see a lot of y'all can sit down and hold just a general conversation, because a lot of that stuff in there is closed or whatever. I don't know how much of a conversation you can have with people. But really, that's what you need to be doing. And just stay out of people's box. Stop trying to initiate anybody. And if you're gonna be having that conversation, Please help people understand that everybody don't need initiation. Tell your story. Don't be trying to, because you already know that stuff come with a big old price tag and a big commitment and devotion. Folks get in there, they got to keep paying you to do this and do that and do this, and then some things they can't even do on their own. The work we do over here in Hoodoo, they're not going to be letting you do over there. Explain that to them instead of them pulling them in there and they get in the house and it's just, it's a, it just, it, they are just shocked. They're in a culture shock because they thought a different way. Explain that to them and get out of my box. And I'm done with that. I'm just, y'all. Oh Lord. Um, Ancestors fix it. That's all I gotta say. Making thought forms, two torpors and servitors. Look at Black Magic Mike said. He said it in there. He said it right there in the YouTube chat. He said making thought forms, torpors and servitors. He just said that's what they doing over there. That's what they doing. See, I'm trying to save you because I'm gonna break all this down next month. But that Black Magic Mike just said it right here in the chat. Said making thought forms, tulpas, and servitors. Because what trips me out, and why I say this, is because of the reaction they have when they see us working with a spirit. It's like they lose their mind. They get mad. They get up. You're not talking to them. You're not talking to them. Now we're not talking to the spirit that you made an initiation with. That's what we ain't talking to. Now I don't know the spirit you initiated and bind yourself to. I don't know them. I know this spirit right here, the spirit that you explained that were Regis angelic beings that live within us and around us. This is spirit I am connected with. I don't know what spirit that you made a pact with and spilled blood with. And just like Black Magic Mike just said, making thought forms, tulpas, and servitors. Is that what's going on there? Because you're getting too upset about it. These can't be the same spirits. Not the way you acting. You telling me it's dangerous for me to connect with angelic beings that's in nature within me and around me. After you just said they're angelic beings and they're in nature around me and within me as well. But now when I get to working with it, the energy is dangerous for me. Make it make sense. So what did you just do over there? So you mean to tell me all that was dangerous? So what's going on here? That's what had me question. That's what ancestors like. It's a pack, baby. When I seen them act like that, and I'm gonna tell you who showed me when I first, and I don't even want to mention her name, but I got to. The first person I seen that I don't like that was Voodoo Bay. Voodoo Bay. When I seen it on her, that's when ancestors like, that's a pack, baby. They making packs. You don't want to fool with that. It's not what you think. The way they act. Look at what the way they act. You ain't supposed to be acting like that. You over there reprobate. You say you about this and then you spin your head and turn. Girl, something's wrong with them people. Okay, something going on there, and I'm done with that. I hope the ancestors fix it, but I have enough spiritual, wisdom and enough sense to listen to the ancestors to know that something ain't right there and you need to stop it. Y'all need to question that. And I'm not trying to bash them or anything like that. I love Ifa in its organic, original state. I don't know what this is now. This some GMO, frackanacka bull crap they got going on with them. They making it regular over there, and I'm just done with that. You making it look ugly. Something so beautiful, you making it look ugly. Get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Sure. I'm done with that. Please clip this so I can post it on social media. No. So that's what I got to say about that. Question these people, and you know that IFA has a good it has it already has a good quality to it. You know that we respect IFA. We respect you already know that. And then I don't know who over there, who over it. And then y'all letting these regular people over there making Ifa look bad. And you know Ifa it has a good connotation to it. You know that we've heard of Ifa. And so you're gonna use that. May the ancestors light your ass up. That's what's gonna happen. You keep on playing games like that. Keep it up. I hope the ancestors do something with you. Fix it, ancestors, because look, these folks, they got to stop it. Okay, they just got to stop it. I'm done with that. I just got to calm myself down because I just don't get it. Don't know why you doing that. Don't know why you doing that, and it don't make no sense. It seems like you should be trying to work with people and help them understand Ifa, understand how to use the herbs and stuff to heal and all that stuff. Give them simple little rituals and things like that instead of trying to initiate folks into stuff. It just don't make no sense. Okay, not everyone needs to be initiated. They don't, because I'm telling you, that's a big responsibility. You got some people over there now, and they're going through some things, or they're struggling to stay and keep up with all the requirements that's over there to be initiated and work with these spirits. It is not easy, you guys. As I said, know what you're jumping into. And I did my thorough research and dive. That's why we cover everything over there in our community. I'm not gonna leave any stone, no stone unturned. So you can understand. We look at Ifa, we look at voodoo, we look at those ancestors. I just did uh, um, a video clip, a short about showing you they're all ancestral. They're all ancestral. Every ATR, every indigenous spiritual practice is ancestral. Who you think created the tradition? How do you think and some of these deities that you're looking at are ancestors that has been deified? So what are you talking about? You think we stupid? I'm not stupid. It's ancestral. We already know that. The young lady just explained in voodoo how they sit there and they make an ancestor a loa. She just sat there explained that to you. So we know what it is. And when we start saying that we venerate the ancestors, and we follow the ancestors, then you should get somewhere and sit down because that's exactly what you're doing over there with the Egungun and the Getty. So just be quiet. That's who helped you set that up. Y'all still got the ancestors up in there. So just, I don't know who you think you playing with. You ain't playing with me. You do you good to stay out of my box, 'cause I ain't got no weak mind. I'm not seeking power. I'm seeking to follow my ancestors and deepen my relationship with them. I know where the power come from. It don't come from no religion. It come from the ancestors. So just stop it and quit it. Stop trying to sell heaven and power to somebody. Because with great power comes great devotion and commitment. That's how that's gonna work. So you just stop it with the shenanigans, the frackle knackle bull crap. Just stop it. Get somewhere and sit down and be quiet and stop being raggedy. That's what you doing. So I'm done with that, honey. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to get that out the way because I'm tired of them coming in my box with the crazy stuff. Then I have to tell them about hoodoo. And I tell you about hoodoo again. If I have enough respect to say, okay, I appreciate Ifa, you had enough respect to say, yes, I appreciate hoodoo because your ancestors they kept that alive. You don't know nothing about hoodoo, but you want me to know about Ifa. Get out of my face. I'm just done. I'm so sorry, y'all. It's just I'm sorry. Let me go on. Okay, so again, I'm off that, you guys. I'm off my soapbox. And I had to get that together because they keep on trying to mess with us like that. And they need to stop it. Uh again, so when we're looking at these archetypes, we're looking at these things and we're looking at these stories and we're hearing them automatically we're programming and it's already in our DNA. And what happens when we start to hear it, it start to reactivate that DNA. Okay, start opening it up. Okay. And so you'll see that in Hoodoo. That's why we have Black History Month. You see that going on with Black History Month. We talked about affinity ancestors. Excuse me. You'll see that in Black History Month. What else I was going to say? And you will see that when they're telling us stories about Hoodoo and we're learning more, especially in Hoodoo Heritage Month. Hoodoo Heritage Month, when we're talking about these ancestors, again, we are bringing them up in our collective consciousness, bringing them to the forefront. And like you think it's going to be something, I think we think it's supposed to be something that looks like Hollywood, Disney World thing, but it's really subtle. It's not as like you see in Hollywood. It's not going to be like that. It's already going to be in your DNA. It's already encoded in you, and they know it. They know it. I think an interesting a thing about that's why I say I wonder what they know about us. Was that Fred Hampton that they were calling him the Black Messiah? What his name? Was that Hoover? The Hoover, J. Edgar Hoover. I think he was calling. He had they had an operation called Operation Stop the Black Messiah, but they was like the Black Messiah could not come back, and they have this case open about the Black Messiahs. Okay, so they actually know, and what they're saying, what they saying that because the Messiah live in us. What is the Messiah? The righteousness that the ancestors put in us. You can't get rid of that. The Black Messiah will return through his people. It's the righteousness. The Christ conscious is going to return. And see, that's what he wanted to stop. You go back and look at some of the things, the way he was describing them. He described them as the Black Messiah. And I said, what is that ancestor that said righteousness? Righteousness is already put in y'all, and they don't want that coming out. And so they're using the black using the word Black Messiah, but really the Black Messiah righteousness is all in y'all. When y'all open your mouth, y'all be slaying them. They don't like that. And so this is the operation, what they're calling the Black Messiah. Go back and look at that documentary because that's what he was calling it. I said, what? They calling him the Black Messiah. What are they doing with this? I think I saw it on a documentary somewhere. I think I was looking at that documentary. You probably should be able to look it up on YouTube, but it's called The Black Messiah. And he kind of coined that. And I was like, what is he talking about? And says he talking about righteousness. They don't want that coming out your mouth. Ain't no people. We the only people. That's why you had them pale faced people. They were trying to get us to come and march and protest with them here recently, and they was getting mad at us and talking about we need to be on. Hell no, we don't need to be up there no more because y'all. They said their words ain't being heard, but when we get up and talk, they know fire come out our mouth. They can't pull that out like we can do it because we stand on righteousness. You understand? You don't got that in you. And so they wanted black people out there, and we said, no, absolutely not. We're not getting out. We did that before. Y'all didn't do a damn thing. My thing is, if I'm saying that, you need to get in front of me like a bulletproof vest and guard me. Because you know them folks going to be doing something. Your body need to be a human shield if I'm going to be using my mouth. But you ain't ready to do that, so get somewhere and sit down. But you want us to get out there and do that. You sound crazy. And we said, no, we're not doing it no more. Okay? They aren't strong without us, but we can't trust them. See? Now ain't nobody gonna go out there and being that, but honey, we've been the voice of righteousness for so long while y'all sit up and accept raggedy stuff. And now you see how raggedy y'all is. You want us to come out there and talk about it. No, no. Use that same energy that you was using to avoid the problem. Use that same energy to fix it. Because it's y'all problem. Y'all created this mess. Ain't nobody our ancestors try to fix that mess, but you didn't want to fix it. You love the benefits of racism so much that you couldn't fix it. You didn't want to fix it. So now look at you now. And if we went out there and now fixed it, you ain't gonna do nothing but bite us like a snake. You gonna turn that against us. But now you get a chance to look at the man in the mirror because that man is a reflection of y'all. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Now, if it wasn't about, that man hadn't got in y'all pockets, y'all wouldn't have said a damn thing. But he's a reflection of you, and that's why you're looking at him. And that's what you need to fix is you. That's the shadow work that y'all have to do. That's not our shadow work. That's y'all shadow work. The regular stuff you got to fix. We got our own stuff to fix over there. We got to wonder why we keep letting y'all do stuff that y'all do. That's the healing work we got to do. Why we think y'all better than us because you ain't. Why we think we got to follow y'all and be in y'all economy and all that stuff. Why we got to follow y'all standards? Because they low. They ain't about nothing. Low morale and ethics. So why we even dealing with y'all? That's the work that we got to do over here. Why we keep self-destruct? Why we keep doing self-destructive behaviors? Because all the 500 or 600 years of trauma y'all to put on us, now we self-destructive. We do stuff to hurt ourselves. We don't know why we do it. Now I got to sit over here and explain to these beautiful people over here what's in their bloodline and how to heal it. Because they done went through some stuff. We don't even comprehend the magnitude of the transgressions that's upon us. We don't even understand that. Sit that down and tell my folks that because they still stuck in survival mode. Okay, I tell my folks that because they don't even know they sick. They've been sick so long, y'all to normalize their sickness. And then when they do get well, you call them crazy. Ain't that some stuff? When they get well and call you out and they see for what you is, you call them crazy because they don't go along with your sickness. Just like that man doing now. He think y'all crazy because y'all won't bow down to the king. That's how he think. But this is what you did to us. You did us the same damn way. Now you get a taste of your own damn medicine. That is what we had to go through dealing with y'all. I'm just telling you. Now you seeing now the shoe on the other foot don't feel good, do it? Then pay. Why black people ain't on the team? Why they ain't coming down? Cause we tired. Hell, our ancestors tired, and we are tired. You're talking to somebody been doing this for damn near 1,000 years. Been doing this with you. We're tired. Our ancestors in us is tired. Yeah, it's a joke to us. Just like it was a joke to you. Yeah, we loving on ourselves. We focusing on black joy. We focusing on living our best life. And y'all that piss y'all out. They over there line dancing and shit. And here we go. Yeah, we doing that. We line dancing on it. Baby, we right on the beat. Ain't nobody doing that with y'all. You go fix it. You created that problem. You were benefiting from it. Fix it. Y'all love to put y'all hands on us. Go put your hands on that man. Go put your hands on it. You love putting your hands up and stringing us back up by trees and stuff. Do that same thing to him. You were so eager to do it to us. Yeah. Joe did the ancestors. That's the ancestors. That's that DNA told us all at one time. You better sit down and you're not going out there marching. We're not doing anything. Matter of fact, we're gonna focus on lands dancing, line dances, and we're gonna focus on partying and just having a good old time. That's all we're gonna do. While all this shit burn down. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be dancing in the fire while it burn down. And that piss y'all off. Why aren't they fixing it? Damn it. Why won't they go out there and fix that? We need old Auntie Mama. We need old Tom to go out there and fix that for. You should be on the front line. Ain't nobody doing that with you. You go out there and do it. You participated in it. You think you didn't contribute? You contributed to it every time you kept your damn mouth closed and you benefited from it. So just shut up. Honey, I would burn the bridge while I'm on it just to watch it burn down. I don't care. And it's exactly what they doing right now, watching it burn down. We don't benefit from it no way. We don't give a damn if it burn down. It never helped us no way. That's why we don't care. Why would we care about something that don't benefit us? It's you only care because it benefits you. But we've been poor. We know how to cook beans and potatoes and stuff. We had to live off of that. We know how to cook beans, potatoes, and rice and stretch food. Make goulash. We'll be all right. Okay? Our ancestors taught us how to live. We ate many of beans and cornbreads and potatoes. Yeah, we know how to stretch that food. You better know how to do that. Okay? You better learn how to do that. You about to learn though. You about to learn. You going about to be eating a lot of beans and potatoes and rice. You about to learn. Okay? You about to learn. If you ain't thought about no fast, just like Secret of No now's the time to start doing fasting. You need to save some food anyway. It's getting real over there. Okay? So y'all fix that. Ain't nobody gonna, nobody gonna do that with y'all. Okay, so let's move on here. I got off my Miss Penny. You are in raw form. You're doing in with no chaser. Tell it like it is. Right on the beat. Okay. So again, we ain't nobody doing that with y'all. Okay. So the striking things when we start going through ancestral veneration and we start looking at hoodoo and seeing what's in there, I think the most striking features are the collective power of nature. All of our spiritual practices nature based, and you can find nature spirits in our spiritual practice. I can go days without eating. How do we get a reading from you? You can DM me. I do astro readings. That's when I look at your chart and I break it down hoodoo style. And I do regular tarot reading as well. The astro readings are $15. The tarot readings are $35. So I'm very reasonable. Okay. Uh, let's see here. So again, you'll see these deities, you'll see these nature spirits within our spiritual practices. And you see that in hoodoo as well. Okay. And now we used to be isolated from each other and we didn't know much about each other. I didn't know about Palo. I'm even finding more smaller African diaspora spiritual practices I didn't even know exist. Some of them are very small. But when I start looking at them, again, it start bringing our ancestral knowledge together. And a lot of people think hoodoo is, I have to be careful about this because some people they love the traditional hoodoo. They love the Bible and hoodoo, and I just feel like the people like that they're trying to stay close to Christianity. And if that's the way you want to practice your hoodoo, by all means, you can practice it that way. Okay, I have nothing against that. However, when us people are bringing the science together and bringing it together, and we're evolving it and add well, growing it because our spiritual practice were meant to evolve and grow and adapt. They were just meant that. Okay, they're not like religion that don't stay the same. Some stand still ain't growing. If it's still like that, it ain't growing. When people still doing this and they still doing that and it ain't growing, it ain't evolving. So I wouldn't want hoodoo to stay still. It is meant to evolve and grow as the new generation come in and embrace it and make it palatable and again make it a way of life for them. So it was never meant to stay the same. I don't think any of our systems, because they are based on science, spiritual technology and science, they are going to grow and evolve. Versus like religion, it's just gonna stay the same, and they don't want you thinking outside. And if you do, the devil is coming to get you, and you're going to hell. And somebody just got in my box. She was going through somebody I just did an astro chart, and she shared her whole story with me. And she was talking about how her intuition, her psychic abilities was coming forward, and the ancestor was talking to her, and she told her preacher, and the man that the folks said that it was the devil. See what I'm talking about? But then you say in your Bible that God was talking to the prophets, and God was talking to Jesus, and God was talking to this people, but when God talked to me, it's the devil. Girl, boy, look here, make it make sense. Y'all, who the religious trauma y'all cause people, you just need to sit down and be quiet because you don't know nothing about spirituality. Y'all don't do nothing but cause trauma, and then get mad when don't nobody want to be over there fooling with y'all because you just ignorant as you want to be. You as ignorant as the day when the pale face gave you that Bible and told you that God hates you. You as ignorant as the same day. Ain't nothing changed. Some of y'all. You sound crazy. It sounds crazy. You got to be insane to be over there. You can't do any critical thinking. You can't have no common sense. You got to be mentally ill to be in that religion because they want you standing still. They don't want you growing. Ain't nothing but withered up, dying trees over there. Okay, how this sounds interesting. Okay, so that I don't know what they be doing over there. You see it with your eyes, and I can't. After Marvin Sapp said what he did. I just go on and on with y'all. The woman in the church got mad because the one girl didn't hug her right. The Wyand preacher told the folks they need to give him $2,000 or get out of the line. I just go on and on. Juanita Bynum told them people she need $1,000. Y'all are crazy for sitting up in that stuff like that. And them folks ain't praying for you. I ain't. They ain't doing no conjure for you. They ain't setting no lights for you. They ain't praying for you. They ain't going up in there hollering in there, threatening you with hell and fire and sin, talking about what Jesus did and don't do it. That's what's going on. Really sit down and think about that. It can't be no critical thinking going on up there. Just, I can't stand to see it. I can't even stand to see it. Okay, it's crazy on another level. And then you call other people devil worship. You are in a cult. You are in a cult. That's what you're in. Okay? They want all my money. They want all of it, right? I don't miss it at all. That's all they want. Okay, that's how these religions starting to function now. That's why I've never like when I got into hoodoo. Believe me, I did do my research. I looked at Ifa. I even talked to Ifa, a priest, Babalawos, if can't even, the priestess. Hey, I talked to them. They have a problem with them. Loved it. Looked all into it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Okay. Looked into voodoo. You know, went down the rabbit hole. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. But when they started talking about initiation and all that, I was like, nah, that ain't for me. That sound like them going back into Christianity. I ain't doing that. It sound like trauma. It felt like trauma. Feel like trauma. I don't want to do that. Okay? I'm gonna stay. And I looked at hoodoo. I was like, hey, hoodoo. I don't have any restrictions. I can learn, 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 and learn, and learn. If I perfect, then I can work with these spirits. The ancestors will show me to do this. I'm not, you know, uh, no good thing is a barrier for me. I can reach for all of it because it's ancestral. So I loved hoodoo for that. I had affinity because I have such an affinity for the ancestors. So it fit me just right. Okay, I know what I need. Okay, I knew I didn't want to do that. That started making my body tense up every time they start talking about it. My body started getting tense. I said that's not for me. So paying attention to my body, uh, I save myself some time. Feels like coming to a family reunion where you just feel relation. Yeah, that's how hoodoo feel. Okay, because they start showing you where your ancestors is, and what trips me out with following the ancestors. And I don't know how it is for everybody, but they will start showing you where they are in different cultures. Just like they had me looking at that altar down there, in front of my apartment complex. I seen that little spirit house, and ancestor said, "Don't that look like you?" I said, "That sure look like us." And says, "That sure look like what y'all do." They have me looking at different things. They don't restrict me. They be teaching me. spiritual concepts and wisdom and knowledge. I love that. They don't withhold any good thing from me. They teach me and I listen. I'm so intrigued. And I get to asking the question and digging deeper. High time stamping army. Okay. I just love it. And E for people, all y'all other people, y'all need to understand us about us hoodoos. We some of us just love hoodoo. We're not interested in none of that. We just some of us just love the ancestors. I know that's like that for me. And when I first started displaying this type of information, and that was back in what the early, there must have been maybe around 2010, 2011. Babaloa started jumping in my box when they started doing. They was like, we love that you love the ancestors. Praise be the ancestors. May they guide your life. And then, they start praying for me. That's how I know y'all fake, cause you ain't doing that. Cause when I started talking about the ancestors, it was so many Babaloas and priests praying for me. Because why? Because they know how important the ancestors was. That's how I know y'all fake though. Okay, stay out my box. My box. That's how I know you fake. You ain't doing nothing, huh? I literally had to do was go outside versus all the rules and restriction I had growing up. Absolutely. Can you explain what's your definition of hoodoo? Now, it might be different for some people because I've heard that I like the way this other young lady explained hoodoo. She said hoodoo is in the culture. You don't know you're doing hoodoo, but you're doing hoodoo. You ain't sweeping nobody's foot. You ain't open an umbrella in the house. Um, you ain't gonna whistle into the house either. And then on New Year's, you're gonna make them black eyed peas, cornbread, and greens. You're gonna do just like is customary for you to do things that is embedded in our culture that we didn't know it was hoodoo, but that was just a part of the culture. Then you have root work. Because people like to say they're interchangeable. When you really get into hoodoo, you find out no, this it's really specific things going on when you look at the science of it and how it works. And so you have root work. These are people that have perfected elemental magic. They know how to work with fire. They know how to work with water. They know how to work with roots. They know how to work with plants. They know how to work with dirt. They know how to work with saints. They know how to call on the power of God to get things done. Those are root workers. Okay? Those are the root workers. They know specifically how to work with saints, God, ancestors, the angels, plants. It's more elemental. Natural magic. It's more natural elemental magic when you're talking about root work. Now, versus when you get into conjure is all about necromancy. You know how to work with spirits. You just know how to work with spirits. You can work with saints, you can work with angels, you can work with ancestors, you can work with the rishas, you can work with laws, you can work with a variety of different deities. Goetic spirits, uh, again, that's conjure. Okay, that's the difference. I hope that made sense. No purses on the floor. Yep, no purses on the floor. Floor cleaning up on Saturday. It's just stuff they did. And then we do the same thing they do, not know why. We don't even know it's hoodoo, but you're doing it. Like we missed it. We were practicing magic and didn't know we were practicing magic because it was stuck in the culture. It was a way of life. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So that's how it was explained to me. And that's why, you go to your folks and you be telling them, and people start waking up and they go to telling their family members they doing hoodoo and they get mad at you because that's not what they doing. Okay. And they didn't call it that. You got outside people calling that. And to me, you're creating a name. We just didn't like that kind of stuff. We didn't like other people naming what we was doing. And if somebody else was naming what we was doing, we took, especially if it's pale face, we took it as an offense because they always try to make our stuff look ugly. Okay. So if you tell that to your grandma, then they probably gonna get upset with you. Just ask them what they doing. Don't tell them they doing hoodoo. They'll teach you something. But if you tell them they doing hoodoo or whatever, because that's not what they call it. I've never heard anyone, no one told me. No, I never heard an ancestor call it that. I heard them call it that stuff that they know stuff. That's all I've heard it called. I've not heard it called a name like that. Again, I think these are outside people naming our magic instead of us naming it. They're naming it. If I've heard anything, it'll probably be some juju or something, but they didn't call it that. And so when you're calling it that to them, they're taking offense because they went through that before. And so they'll take offense to that. They'll get very offensive. So don't, tell them that. You know what they're doing. That is what other people are calling it. So but don't tell them that, because they're doing the Lord's work. They following God. That's not what they doing. Okay? So just ask them what they doing and maybe they'll teach you, but don't tell them what they doing because they might get upset with you. Hoodoo could be described as being intentionally intentional. Good way to describe that time stepping army. Hoodoo, he said hoodoo could be described as being intentionally intentional. Good way to explain that. You are well read and connect the dots. Thank you, Black Magic Mike. Okay, I try my best to help you understand, because when nobody trying to help us understand it, understand that. And a lot of these folks, they trying to get us into these religions and stuff, and y'all ain't gonna sit down and break nothing down to us. I was very excited when the young lady was talking about voodoo, the inside of how they make an ancestor. Honey, I was like, if y'all would just talk about that, I would be interested. Like I would be interested, but y'all don't talk about that. Y'all talk about something else. Yeah, you ain't talking about the good stuff that I want to hear. You ain't talking about that. This is what I want to hear. We want to know the inside. We want to know the inside school. So I was very excited when she explained that, and I had to share that here with you guys to let you know that hey, this is what they're doing. They're doing the same thing when they make saints over there in Catholicism, and when we're looking at voodoo and we're looking at their riches, we're looking at ancestors. That's what we're looking at. That's why I would tell, people that don't look like us, you can't come over here with that, because it's certain things you're not going to be able to do. With certain ancestors are not going to work with you. And I know y'all, because y'all ain't went through a whole bunch of stuff, you going to try it because y'all love getting high off the risky behavior. And see that little girl, she called herself trying to call on Papa Legba. And that little pale faced girl got messed up. Okay. You, I have to tell y'all that ain't nobody. We got different ancestors, and the ancestors' work that we got to do over here, especially if you pale face, you don't have any of this ancestry. We trying to hear from your ancestors. So why in the hell would you want to come over here anyway? Happy birthday, song and blowing out the candle. I heard is hoodoo. It probably is, girl. Who is that said that? Somebody said, God's my protection said happy birthday song and blowing out the candle I heard is hoodoo. You'd be surprised how much stuff lead back to us when you start looking at the spiritual science of hoodoo. And you think hoodoo, people telling you, oh, hoodoo came into effect. No, the magic was already in our ancestors' blood before they picked up a Bible. Before they could even read, they was doing hoodoo. So just stop it there. You're saying that you're giving hoodoo life because of a Bible, but hoodoo was already in our ancestors before they picked up that Bible. So let's just cut that out. Okay. Call on Papa Legba being white was insane. Then I think she actually was visited by Baron Samedi. I think that's what probably happened, because they have them, they in Hollywood be depicting them wrong to try to make them look all um evil and stuff, because they do that with these books. They'll make these books and have your ancestors' knowledge in there and put somebody on there with horns, got the book looking all creepy and ugly and stuff. You don't even want to pick it up, but you open it up, it's your ancestors in there. And so Hollywood, that messed her up, because what they're depicting as Papa Legba, is that who he was supposed to be in the Coven American Horror Story? I think he was supposed to be Papa Legba, but Papa Legba don't even present himself like that. That was Baron Samedi. Okay, you're using, and then the stuff that this spirit was doing. These spirits don't even operate like that. You know, I don't know, that they always got to make it creepy and ugly and stuff, and that's what scares people. And then you get over here, it's nothing like that. The spirits ain't like that. Like somebody told me, I would have been scared about Papa Leg, but he's never scared me. It's never scared me. Every time they come in contact with me, it's never been in a way that would scare me. Okay, there's nothing to be afraid of. Them your folks, them your ancestors. Ain't nothing to be scared of. They there for you. Can't wait till you call them and help you. Okay. What were the ancient? Somebody asked the question. What were the ancient symbols using to call on ancestors back days before Constantine? Now, seekers of no, you stepping into something right now, but I'm gonna talk about it since you gonna step in it. I'm gonna. I just got through talking about psychoactive plants. Now, a lot of these symbols were going into trances by using psychedelics. They would be over like this hole that vapors came out of. They'll have a chair. These vapors will come over them, and then they would start prophesying or doing some seer work for the people that came to them for answers. But a lot of these, that's why I tell you they're still using. You know, I got to believe that they were using it in the Bible because they said they got everything from these women, and it's already been proven that the Jews were using cannabis in the incensers in the church when they was doing a little incenser like this, and everybody's having these ecstatic moments. They've already proven it. They're gonna keep it out the Bible. I think they kept it out of the mainstream, and it was only for the people that were in the deeper mysteries. But you see that in indigenous spirituality too. If you have any psychological stuff that's going on, more than likely they're gonna do that kind of work with you and go into the spiritual realm and start trying to get some stuff moved out for you. Okay, but you go do your research on that. The symbols, yes, they enhance this psychoactive uh, smoke. They would go into a trance, a lot of them, and start prophesying to them. They were in, okay, and you'll see that being done with the Jews too. When I got to look at, because that's supposed to be the new spiritual technology of the future. A lot of y'all probably don't know that yet, but see, I'm nerdy. I read all these books, but they talk about the technology, the spiritual technology of the of future is going to be these psychoactive plants where people can go in and have their own experience with the source. Okay, but back in the day, in these mystery sciences, you seen it right there in Black Panther when they gave him that stuff and he went into the realm of the ancestors he was drinking, and they was preserving that plants because that plant was again a medium into the ancestral realm, because these psychoactive plants act as a catalyst, sort of like a crystal, bridging a connection between you and the astral realm and the ancestors realm. They're gonna keep that out of there. See, that's, and a lot of them they don't want you. That's why too they kind of outlawing some of these psychoactive plants, because if you take the psychoactive plants, they won't be able to do what they do. They don't want you waking up. You're gonna see through the veil. If too many people wake up like that and seeing through the veil like that, you can't control people that got control of their mind. And see, they don't want you to do that because these plants create an alter form of consciousness. And what it do? It helps you look into the astral realm because it alters your consciousness. That's just like cannabis. They try to outlaw cannabis, but they don't want you to open your mind. And cannabis opens your mind, it expands your consciousness and opens up your chakras. Did you know that? But some of us are doing it in the wrong context. We're doing it as a recreational instead of setting the intentions and doing it for spiritual development. If you use cannabis for spiritual development, you'll gain more insight and knowledge. I tell you what was the trip to me. It was a guy that was my florist. He was my florist. I'm gonna call him a florist. And so he was my florist, and it tripped me out because we all, I think both of our family came from Dixie. Dixie is over there in North Little Rock in Arkansas, and my family, we come from Dixie. And so I was going over there, all the time because he became my regular florist, and we would be in the same room, and other people come in. They be like, "Is y'all some kid?" Me and him start looking at each other. We was like, "Nah, we ain't no kid." Say, "Damn, y'all look like brother and sister." But we ain't no kin. And he said when he would go somewhere, they would ask him, "Was he some kin to me?" He be like, "No, me and her just cool." And they would see me and say, "You some kin to him?" Like, "Nah, we just cool." But I remember one time I went into his house, and I thought I was the only one doing it. This boy had so many books. I mean, all kinds of philosophy books, spiritual books, and things like that. I started laughing. And he said, "What you laughing at?" I said, "You be doing that too?" He said, "Mine." He said, "I be on this, and then my mind start expanding, mine. I have to read these books, mine, because this knowledge be coming in." And I was doing the same thing too. It was expanding my consciousness when I would read again because I was intentional about it. I was using it to expand my mind and gain a greater comprehension of the books that I was reading. But see, y'all know nothing about that. Hey, you don't know how to use it. You using it to dumb in instead of you just using it to dumb down instead of tap in. But if you use it to tap in instead of dumb down, you're gonna learn so much. Hope that helped you. Hey, cool 9550. Okay. And see, they ain't taught y'all how to now want you using it because you know why they don't want you expanding your consciousness. They're gonna make that against the law there because they don't want you to get no because that plant is gonna talk to you and open up your mind. Okay, it's gonna release all that restriction that's on your mind. That's what the plant gonna do. It's gonna relax your mind and stop all that restriction, and then help you open yourself up to the right side of your brain, your spiritual realm. And again, all this information start coming in. I think I wrote a book on that too. Okay, you're talking right. That helped me a lot. Okay. See, they don't want that. That's why you have some people, they trying to make this spiritual connection. They trying to go in there. They can't do it. They can't do a shift. What they do, they go to a plant doctor. They go and have they schedule a retreat for to take in this psychoactive substance again to release all this stuff on their mind like that so they can be able to have this experience. Now I can do, and I think that's the reason why too I was able to travel to the astral realm and the way I can into the realm of the ancestors because of having that sort of practice, you know, that type of relationship with the plant. Hope that makes sense. I've talked about this before, but a lot of people don't like, and a lot of spiritual, they be like, "No, don't do that, don't do that." Well, your ancestors did it. What you think these shamans was doing? They was taking these psychoactive, some of them was taking psychoactive substances going into the spiritual realm. What do you think they were doing? They just showed you that on Black Panther. Okay, I got downloads some years ago during the pandemic to get mugwort. I had a hard time finding it at first, but then realized it was growing where I went to walking every day. Yep. And see, I started mixing it too. Just start smoking mugwort with lavender and blue lotus. I would make a blend with it. Okay, that's just me. Everybody's different. But you will see some spiritualists are against it. Then you have some people, they're not against it. So I don't talk about it much because it's so much controversy. And it do takes a certain type of maturity to be able to use those plants in that way to expand your consciousness. Okay, I love mugwort, but where do you get the blue lotus? I've had to buy it offline. Usually when I bought it offline. Okay. So again, we talked about again this collective consciousness. We talked about how we have these archetypes already inside us. It's already in our DNA. Okay. Government affecting human body, biofield, protect your mind. Okay. The government affecting human body, but they've been doing that for the longest. Okay. They even use it more with the government because the government is meant to control your mind. The TV controlling your mind. Celebrities control they work so hard at trying to control your mind. Okay? That's why you gonna have to get somewhere and sit down and cut off your TV and stop looking at folks. Cause if you ain't, they want you following folks. They don't want you trusting yourself. They don't want you in contact with your intuition. And then you get over there where I'm at. I got to sit up there and build you back up and get you to trusting in yourself again. Because I'm not gonna let you sit up and keep doubting yourself. The thing is to go within and start trusting you again, because you're sitting up here trying to follow these people, and then you're upset when they ain't like that, because everybody up here acting and playing these damn games. They acting up here. A lot of them acting, you know. And then you follow the wrong person. They making it seem like they can teach you a lot of stuff, and you get over there, they teach you a lot of spells, and they don't understand the spiritual science of hoodoo, of any of our spiritual science, how this work. We don't just sit up and do spells and then do them tomorrow. We don't do that. Okay. And so you get over there and you get mesmerized because you keep your eyes looking on people when you need to keep your eyes on the inside of you. Okay. I hope that made sense, Lord. All right. Don't need to be following people even when you get over there with me. I don't want you impressed with me. Don't be impressed with me. I'm not the sauce. Them ancestors is the sauce. You better be following them ancestors. You better be trying to impress them. I'm working for the ancestors. So look here. Don't follow me. I'm trying to get you to follow them, and you're gonna be following the spirit. Most of the time, you're gonna be following something you can't see. I know it's scary. Okay, I know it's scary. It's scary. I know it's scary, honey, and I'm sorry that it's scary. They did me the same way. I ain't gonna lie. I told the ancestors it's scary. I said, girl, you got to learn how to trust. You keep on following these people. That's why you're blind now. You blind because you keep looking at other folks. Okay, you blind because you keep looking at other folks. Stop looking at folks. You need to stay in tune with us. Because them the only thing you're gonna be able to trust is a spirit. You're gonna be able to trust these because spirits are genuine. People are just, some of us are raggedy. I'm just gonna tell the truth. And that's why I tell people, don't come over here in hoodoo think you can trick a spirit, because you can sadly mistaken. You think you're gonna come over here and start shucking and jiving and all that, and you wanna change your life, and you're gonna be working with elevated ancestors. You think you come over here shucking and jiving with them? No, you cannot. You're gonna have yourself a spiritual psychosis and run back to church where you ain't got to look at yourself, because you're gonna look at yourself over here. True, but I resonate with your mindset. Thank you, Miss B. Okay. And so think you come up here and fool no spirit, you just ain't gonna be able to do it. Now them other people that sit up there faking the front and all that. My thing is, nobody should be teaching you nothing without telling you something about ancestral veneration and shadow work. And then they'll teach you that, and then when it don't work, then tell you your house is dirty. That's how come it didn't work. They tell you that and blame it on you when they wasn't a good. They should have been a better support for you to tap into your magic. They ain't gonna take no accountability. Now I'm not gonna say it's their fault, but they should have gave you greater context. Okay, shouldn't be teaching you nothing. For they teach you anything, they should be coming at you out their mouth. If you've had especially you teaching hoodoo, you have a solid foundation with your ancestors, and you're good at communicating with spirits, then you will probably want to do this work. But I don't recommend you do this work if you don't have a good foundation with your ancestors. That's it. Instead of trying to show people this, and then they doing it because you told them it's gonna work, but you gave them no context, and now they mad or they think hoodoo don't work because you didn't present it in greater context. Okay, that's usually what happens, and people just don't know. They don't know. That's why I say, really vet your practitioner. They saying they're gonna teach you this and teach you that. If they're not teaching you ancestral veneration, because that's where the power is coming from. Ain't nothing gonna be shaking and moving without working with no spirit. They ain't told you nothing about water spirits, air spirits, fire spirits, the cosmogram, the quince they have not given you again a really good solid foundation of hoodoo. Then I just you need to think about that. What does this mean when you see the trees in the spiritual form? I'm getting ready to talk about the trees in a minute, spiritual Leo. The good foundation with your ancestors come first. Absolutely. There's no negotiation of that. Literally had to learn that first on my own. I did too, baby. You ain't the only one. Okay. I just really didn't touch nothing until I had my ancestral veneration together. I don't know why. I just didn't do any magic like that, not purpose magic. Now, you remember I told you I did that accidentally magic and did that love spell on that boy, but I didn't know I had that in me. I accidentally did that. Okay, I didn't know I could do that. And then when I started working with the ancestors, good evening, baby. Hey, Regina Jordan Stewart. Them not working with the ancestors. I was too busy trying to heal myself and trying to commune with my ancestors. I wasn't worried about no stuff like that. My goal was to get the ancestral communication going and trying to heal myself. And then when I started reaching for hoodoo, I started using it to heal myself. I started doing the hydrotherapy, doing blockbuster work on myself, doing ancestors work, the shadow work, doing the affirmations and stuff for myself. Girl, I was using hoodoo to heal myself. I wasn't worried about trying to do nothing else, you know. And it started healing me. Okay, I wasn't using do no hoodoo on nobody or nothing. I was working on myself. Okay, and that's how I fell in love with it. I sat at my altar and prayed to them. They whispered to me the next morning. I was so happy. See, I have seen trees turn high vibrational beings that was protecting my soul. Let me jump into this tree thing. Cause see, what's the name gonna keep on talking about it? Spiritual Leo. Let's talk about the trees because when we look at our book, you guys, because it's already in there in our community, and I think that was the most important part of that book was talking about the trees. And I know that is what we do. That's how our ancestors has instructed us. They did all their spiritual events and stuff around trees, their ceremonies around trees. They were taking offerings to trees. Uh, Again, we are told to get again to do our libations here. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this with trees? And I've told you that trees do talk. And if you look at them, now when I pass them, I can see the aura on top. I can see tree auras. I can see the energy emanating off the spirit when I look at trees. Okay, healing myself. Need to learn how to set up at my altar. Just sit. I start getting emotional. That's what you're supposed to do. The spirit might be touching you in a special way. It's okay. Let it flow. Purge it. Get it out. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay. You're supposed to cry, get it out. And that's probably the way the spirit is communicating with you. Ask yourself what's going on, what's coming up for you. Journal if you need to, baby. Okay. And so they're telling you to go over there by the tree. I can't see the aura yet. I can hear the whispers though. Look at the top of the branch, right? Don't look directly at the tree. Look at the lining of the tree, the outline of the tree, and you'll start seeing the aura. Don't look directly at the tree. Look at the outline of the tree, and you're going to see it. You're going to see this energy animating from the tree. I think the tree auras are easier to see than people auras. That's how it's been working for me. But don't look directly at it. Look at the outline of the tree, and you'll see energy animating from the tree. I hope they help for you. I hope they help you. I can see the aura around the moon. Okay, and that now I can definitely see the auras of trees. Okay, so again, let's go into trees because I love that when it talks about the power of African American healing. And you got that book in our community. Open up that book. Look at that book. Juicy book. Good book. Okay, and we're gonna going into some more of our books as we go into the next month. So, in many traditional indigenous cultures, respect is paid to the spirits of trees during ceremonies and rituals. There are special dances performed and designated times of the year to pay tribute to specific plants, resources, and natural spaces, as well as what we consider the designing art and crafts, like masks and costumes, all to honor the very large group of living spiritual beings that we place under the umbrella term nature. Okay. So again, when we start using making masks and stuff with these trees and things, we understand that the spirit of the tree is in the mask. Okay. Now, what they discovered too, and this I think this happened in the Gullah Geechee community. They said after a lynching, people who had a call saw spirits around certain trees, including angel oak. Deeply religious, the Gullah called these visions spirit angels, and prayers and spiritual offerings and petitions are made around such tree. And so they started seeing ancestors and stuff hang around certain trees. Because I tell you, it's like some of them was born with a veil over their eyes. They call them the call, but a veil they could see. And so when they started seeing these spirits hang around certain trees, that's when they start doing offerings and stuff to the trees. They start realizing that the ancestors again uh, were linked to those trees and spirits was around those trees. Trees are often found in liminal spaces, crossroads, riversides, or graveyards, places where the veil between worlds is thin. In these spaces, communication with ancestors becomes clear because it becomes a channel, it becomes an antenna. They show a little bit of that to you in Avatar. Remember, they was going to those trees talking to their ancestors. They letting you know where you think they got that from, and you know they did research on African indigenous cultures when they made that show. They had to do research on indigenous cultures before they, and it's a lot of those elements in that show. That's like they making these movies and stuff. They telling you the truth because they don't make this stuff without doing a lot of research into it. Okay. When a practitioner prays or meditates under a tree, they enter a state of harmony with the natural world. The rhythmic sounds of leaves, the sway of the branches, and the grounding energy of the trunk create a sacred stillness, a portal through which ancestral voices can be felt or heard. What happened when they went over there and start connecting themselves to that tree? You kind of see that in the Avatar. The roots talk. Exactly. Okay. Everything about that tree is communicating you with you. That's why you pass some trees. There was some of them will wave at you. It ain't no wind blowing. You'll see one little leaf or something just waving. Some of them will wave at you. They are conscious. They are living beings. And our ancestors, again, because they have this close relationship with nature, they have with some nature spirits. You got some that are friends with some of the water spirits. That's why you got water spirits in our some of our spiritual practice. Okay, you got some of my friends with river spirits. That's why you got river spirits in our practice. Okay, you got some ancestors again that represent elementals in themselves. When you see the Nomo tribe, Mama Watts, and all that, those are ancestral spirits. I hope, man, I just broke that down to you guys the other day. I saw dead bird outside my ex house today. What type of omen is that? I don't know what type of omen is that. I don't know what to tell you with that. Okay. Yes, I feel so much love out in nature. It's like a super hug. It is. Okay, I don't know what that means. You saw a dead bird. I don't know what that means. What kind of omen it is. I would look that up though. Google is free. Go ahead and Google it. You'll get the right answer. Okay. Let's see here. Some root workers describe the feelings as being wrapped in spirit, a sensation of calm and quiet that signals the ancestral presence. Now they saying when they get up under this tree, again, they just like she said, you feel like you're getting a very big hug. And here is a root workers describe the feeling of being wrapped in spirit, a sensation of calm and quiet that signals ancestral presence. And this is some of the practitioners that were experiencing, and you feel like that under some trees. I had a tree. I couldn't even go to my tree down here this morning because I just don't feel right. I think somebody so much stuff coming in my mind here, and I don't know who a practitioner around, but I don't like the way that tree is looking over there, so I couldn't go to that tree. So I had to go find me another friend another make a tree, make friends with another tree, and use a tree on the back side of here. But I think because there wasn't nobody messing with that tree at first. Now it's got all kinds of stuff around it, just don't look right to me. So I said, and then I looked at it the other day, and it didn't look right. Tree didn't look right to me. Something going on with that tree. So I couldn't go back. The ancestors wouldn't let me go back over there no more. So I don't know what's going on, but I was advised don't go to that tree no more. Okay, go back there and start working with that other tree. Okay, so I'm working with the other tree. I don't know if I go back up there and work with that other tree or not. Okay, so again, when you are getting working with trees, it's just like getting a telephone line. Okay, it's gonna help you connect in with your ancestors. Okay, in the south, the cypress tree stands tall, majestic, mysterious, and mournful. To the hoodoo practitioner, the cypress is the tree of the dead, a sacred sentinel of the graveyard. Its roots drink from waters that remember slavery, migration, and prayer. So you'll see the cypress tree uh, being very popular, and the cedar tree. This is a cedar tree, um, a cypress tree, the sycamore. Sycamore is one of our trees too. We like, again, we that is very sacred to us. And sometimes when our ancestors passed over, that's how they would mark their grave. They buried them near the tree. Okay, they didn't have no tombstone or anything like that. And if they were really lucky, they could bury them near a tree. And so a lot of them did that. How do you start a relationship the first time? Just start talking to ancestors. Are you talking to the tree? Just start talking to the tree. Talk to the tree. Just sit there and talk to them. And sometimes I will wait till I see a call, and that's just like one day for some reason, I was just looking for cedar trees. I wanted to talk to a cedar tree. They smell good too when you sit up under them. I wanted to find me a cedar tree, and then I found a cedar tree. I had been passing them a long time. Then one day I passed, it seemed like he was waving at me. I said, I'm gonna go over there and talk to him. And so I went over there and I sat up under that tree and talked to that tree. And just listen. Just listen. Okay. So you just go out there. They looking at you. They see you. Okay. You start talking, they hear you. Just start talking. And if you listen close enough, they talking back to you. Trust what comes in, what comes up right here, because a lot of them that are going to be talking to you telepathically. Trust what comes up. Yes, for the tree, just like anyone else you love. Yep, just stop by and talk to them. And matter of fact, the more you go out there at a certain spot, they'll get used to you. They'll get used to seeing you. Again, you're connecting with the land ancestors. You're connecting with all the elements that's alive around there. So they'll get used to seeing you, and you'll start feeling some type of way. You'll start feeling some type of way. The more you go out there, you'll feel them greeting you. Okay, we don't pay attention to it because we got our face in our phone and we're looking at people and all that. It's something called the beautiful outside. Beautiful outside is what you're supposed to be connecting with. And so when you sit there and you listen, you will hear them. But the nature used to be a lot louder when we didn't have all these distractions. Our ancestors was coming in pure contact with these elements, be they fairies or plant spirits, tree spirits. They were talking to them directly because you didn't have a lot of distractions, and they were working. They were out in nature more, and so they could. I live for greetings. I be feeling like Norm. Okay. But see, we don't spend a lot of time in nature. And then when I was a kid, you didn't want to be in the house with them people. Honey, you didn't want to be in I didn't want to be in the house with my mom and them. Them people try to work your ass to death. You want to go outside, go find something to do. Cause you don't want to be up when they get up anyway. They're gonna find you something to do. And you don't want to be around there. You want to be trying to find you something to do. So we went outside, we played. And some of us we didn't have no food at home because Gen X was hard. That's a hard generation. A lot of our parents, honey, they was toe up from the floor up, some of them. Okay. And so sometimes we wouldn't go home, and I don't know how we learned that. But I know I used to be able to spot a berry tree from a mile away. I could tell, dog, there's a berry tree over there. Let's go get something to eat. You think it's a berry? I'd be like, I know it's a berry tree because I know how them leaves look. I bet there's some good berries over there. We would just find berry tree, pick those black berries, and honey, we'd be eating some type of good. And then you had some of us could find rabbit grass. I don't even see that no more. But we knew how to find rabbit grass. We eat rabbit grass. Okay. What is rabbit grass? You know, rabbit grass is that grass tastes like pickle. Call it pickle grass. We knew how to do that. I don't know how we knew that, but we were teaching each other how to find food in nature. Now I don't know who taught us that. I don't know who taught us that. Pecan trees and all that. We was eating off the land. Okay. Well, welcome, Mac Baby 55. I don't know how us kids learn that. I still can't figure that out today because I don't remember nobody teaching me how to find a berry tree. I don't remember nobody teaching us about rabbit grass. You know, I knew about pecans because my grandma was kind of showed me about that. But that rabbit grass and berry, I don't know how us kids figured that out. When we figured that out, we was eating off the land. And we can spot rabbit grass from a mile away. There we is picking it up, sucking all the juice, the pickle juice out of it. We have a big old bag full of blackberries. Okay. We all sit together and we eat them blackberries. Okay. Oh, Miss Penny loved that rabbit grass. Yes. Okay. I don't even see rabbit grass. I don't even think kids got that much sense no more. And I really don't know how we learned it. I really don't know. But see, us kids, we played outside all the time. We was always doing something, building them clubhouse, going crawl egg hunting, diving in ditches, catching crawl eggs and tadpoles and stuff, and frogs. We did all that stuff, climbing trees and all that stuff. You know, go on adventures. We go all up in the woods and stuff. You know, kids. I don't think kids do all that stuff no more, honey. We come back, we be dirty from head to toe. You come in there, your mama say, "Oh, y'all smell like outside." You know, remember your mama? You still get that? You smell like outside. Oh my God, smell like peanut butter and grass. Get somewhere and sit down. Go in there, take a shower, take a bath. But we be dirty from head to toe. Okay. We done been playing in ditches and digging up crawdads, climbing trees, eating rabbit grass, picking strawberries, climbing trees. We did all that. I don't see too many children do that now. We were immersed outside. And yes, we drank from the water hose. Yeah, you see some of us, we swimming in ponds and lakes. Some of us swimming in ponds and lakes. We had no swimming pool. You didn't have that liberty to do that. You found you a pond or a lake or something to go swimming in. Okay, or you went fishing somewhere. Okay. So, but I don't see too many children now having that type of relationship with nature like we had. We got all kinds of trees and fruits in South Carolina, honey. Take advantage of it, baby. Okay. We had the creeks. Yep. Very resourceful. Well, we just played. I remember one time we went crawdad hunt. We supposed to be back before the sun go down. I never forget that. I was telling my daughter about that. We went crawdad hunt. I don't know what made us go in that manhole. But some kind of way we got stuck. One of our friends got stuck in the manhole. We couldn't get him out, honey. We were crying so bad because we couldn't get him out of there. We put a rope in there and everything, and he broke his arm. And so we end up having to call that cousin. We tell her to come with a ladder to get him out of there. And I don't know how we did that, but that boy hid his broken arm from his mama for about 2 or 3 days. I can't tell you how it felt in that manhole, but I think we was there till nighttime. Couldn't make it home for the sun went down. And we was out there crawdad hunting. We done fell into a manhole. I can't fix the camera. What camera you talking about? Okay, that's the best I can fix. If it's glitching, I can't do nothing about that, baby. I can't do nothing about it glitching. Okay, let me take that off of there. Okay, if it's glitching, I can't do nothing about that. I hope it's fixed now for you. So again, communicate with these trees because you just passing them by like they not alive, but they're alive. You are the tree. Look at you. Look at you. You a tree. You got that bushy hair. You got your body, your torso, again, looking just like that tree. Them your kin folks, them your elders, them your folks. Okay. Okay. Can you see me? Long as you can see me and hear me, that should be good. As long as you can hear me, that's good. You being able to see me not important to me, as long as you hear what I'm saying. Okay. I had somebody that said, "Did you see how you look? I'm not here to impress you. We always want somebody to look good for us. Why I need to look good for you? Who is you?" Yeah, this is the problem because you get so mesmerized by looking at people and all this kind of stuff, and you think just because they look good, whatever, the spirit look good, and some of them folks be rotten. You can put sugar on top of crap, and it may look like sugar on top, but when you go up under it, it's still crap, ain't it? Okay. I guess that person thought I was supposed to come here flying all that stuff and try to, razzle dazzle your eyes. I'm not impressed with that. I'm not impressed with that. I'm more impressed with what's coming out your mouth. Okay. I don't care that, people have been fooled by that. Okay. People been fooled by that. I'm not trying to impress nobody. I know that ain't about impressing a kid. I'm just talking. Okay. I was talking about what happened. I know it's not about impressing. You probably just want to see my face. But I know it's not about impressing. Okay. I'm just saying what happened there. Okay. Nobody tripping. Ain't nobody tripping. I'm just telling you what happened the other day when somebody tried to insult me because I didn't look good enough for them. Okay, that's what I'm talking about right now. Okay. And the main thing is making sure can you hear me? Um, can you hear me? And that's the main thing. But I know you don't mean that about no impressing. I was just talking about what that other person told me the other day, honey. They told me, "Did you look at yourself when you come here?" And I said, "What? So you come here to see how I look? You want me to impress you?" But I know that's probably not what you mean, Kia. Okay. Your camera is catching more of your ceiling. Yeah. Okay. That's bothering you looking at the ceiling? Can you see me? Can you hear my message? I really, the ceiling is right there. Yeah, it is. What you trying to see, Kia? Okay, you can see me, so okay. All right, so they look at the cypress is used for protection, ancestral work, in cleansing rites and mourning rituals. It teaches us that the death is not an end, it is a transformation, it is continuation. So the cypress trees are very sacred to us, and you'll see a lot of them too in the swamp areas. You'll see a lot of swamp cypress trees in the swamp area. And now, no, looking at those swamp areas, I was like, our ancestors knew what they was doing when they went into them swamps. Not only was they being protected by being in the swamp and the alligators, but they also were being protected by those tree spirits that was in the swamp. Okay, and then them people they didn't want to go up in there. Them people, them oppressors, the colonizers did not want to go up in them swamps messing with them. They were safer in the swamps, and you got to ask yourself why. And I'm firm to believe, I think if we dig deeper, just with looking at that story about that root work, that conjure man that controlled them alligators, I really believe our ancestors had some type of relationship with those alligators. That's why them people can come up in there like that. Because them alligators probably would attack them people. Okay, because our ancestors they had a deep relationship with animals. They knew how to talk to animals and had a relationship with animals. So I got to believe they were able to stay over there that long and nobody bothered them like that because them folks was getting attacked by animals and everything over there. That's what I think. You can think what you want to. I want to see you. Have your face. Okay, kid, you see me. I hope you seeing me, girl. I hope you seeing me, honey. You see my face, baby. You got the face now. Okay. You see my face now? Okay, Kia. I believe that. They went everywhere else and tried to do something to them, but they would not go in them swamps. Why? Why? They would not go in their swamps and mess with them. Why? Why wouldn't they go in there? They ain't telling just like they didn't tell us about that Haiti stuff. Not only was them people fighting them, but the whole damn the animals and everything was fighting them, just like on Avatar. Remember when they told an Avatar and told the Great Mother to help them, and when the great when they talked to the Great Mother, honey, the Great Mother had all them animals attacking them people because they had a special relationship with nature. I think that's what happened. I think they keeping that. I think that's what happened. And if you listen, I would love to hear some of them, the older Haitians that knew about their history. I bet they could sit down and tell us something because, honey, it wasn't a lot of people to defeat them. But the way I've heard it, that the whole land was fighting them folks. The nature itself was fighting them folks. They don't want to mess, and they ain't been back over there messing with them folks like that either. Okay. And I think that that's what happened in them swamps, and our ancestors went up in those places like that, that it was real covered with nature like that. I just believe that there were nature guardian spirits helping them, and they had these special relationship with these animals. When they got in locations like that, some people couldn't mess with them because of the relationship they had with nature. That's just my take, you guys. We can do it again once we all come together. I believe we can. Okay, because you see, they showing that ain't gonna show you that when they showing you a movie like that on Avatar, it's got to be some truth to that. You understand what I'm telling you? Because these people don't make these movies out of just thin air. They getting some information from somewhere. Where'd they get that from? And usually when they making this movie, there's a truth to it. Now you go back and watch that movie Avatar. The whole the everything was attacking them. The damn birds, the tigers, everything, all them animals was attacking them, attacking them people. Okay, was attacking them people. So okay, I believe that. Now I would love to go back and look at, listen to some of those elders that talk about that thing that happened in Haiti. I think we'll be surprised at what they tell us because of this close relationship they had with nature. Why wouldn't nature listen to them? Why wouldn't nature help them? You got to think about that because they stopped at them swamps. They didn't want to go in there, and our ancestors stayed in those swamps for a long time. Didn't nobody bother them. Okay, okay. Black Magic Mike said Avatar, Star Wars, all of them. Okay, I believe that. So that's why I think it's so important that we go back to nature and talk to these land ancestors and talk to these trees and stuff, because again, these were our first elders. These are our ancestors. I hope that made sense to you. And then there's the sycamore tree, the tree of spirit elevation. Our ancestors knew that the sycamore, long before the ships across the waters in Kemet, ancient Egypt, the sycamore was sacred to Hathor, Nut goddesses who welcome souls into the afterlife. The memory survived, hidden in our blood and bones, and resurfaced in the south, where sycamores grew along long rivers and sacred lands. Like I say, when you start looking at hoodoo, it's gonna take you back to ancient Kemet too. Hi, Danetta Don. Hi, Carter Lewis. Welcome, 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 TikTok family. Welcome, 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 YouTube family. You start looking at this, you be like, wait a minute, this goes back. And I have to have you look at different African diaspora spiritual practices, because what am I doing? I'm following the ancestors. I have to follow it in order to understand our spiritual system and to understand more about my ancestors. I have to follow where they went. I have to look at voodoo. I have to look at Mexican magic. I have to look at Caribbean magic. Okay. I have to look at Haitian. I have to look at it. I have to look at voodoo. I have to look at all that because these are where my ancestors went. They was this didn't just happen to them in America. This happened abroad. And especially when you start looking at some of Mexican magic, It started looking like hoodoo. They got a lot of elements in there. And then they are connected again. They have a lot of preserved indigenous knowledge. When you start, and I don't even like calling them Mexican, y'all, because them people call them people somewhere else, and them people ain't even called no Mexican, honey. God, they name changing too. I hope y'all seeing them colonizers changing y'all name too, because that ain't what y'all is, okay? God, I hate they change our name like that and trying to separate us. We the same damn people. But you start looking at them because they're connected to the land. You can go and get that knowledge that's preserved because they preserve the knowledge, and that knowledge is your ancestors' knowledge. They got a lot of heavy indigenous elements in in Mexican spiritual practices, and that's because they preserve the teachings on that land that's ancestral. So when you go and looking at that, you go to reconnecting with ancestors there as well. Okay, so we have to look at all that because we know our ancestors were dispersed in a variety of places, and everywhere they went, they carried their magic with them. And so when you start looking at that, you start seeing some similarities in our stuff. You be like, wow, this is how this got in here. This our ancestor was so smart. Then they just so they preserved the knowledge as best as they could. I think they did a good job of what they had to work with. And now the only thing we have to do is bring it back together because we was isolated. We didn't know, we had to get stuff from here and here and here and there. But now we can look at it and bring it back together and make more sense of it. Does that make sense to you? That's why Miss Penny gonna have you looking at Brazilian magic. That's why Miss Penny got you looking at Mexican magic. That's why I got you looking at North American magic. And really, North American magic does not exist without hoodoo and conjure. They got to talk about you. If they talk about their folk magic, they're gonna talk about your ancestors. It's just the way it goes. You're gonna see it in every book. And you might say, "Well, Miss Penny, you got me reading this witchcraft book. That ain't got nothing in there for me." Yes, it is. Them folks talking about you. They got that from you. That's why I have you looking at it. Everything they got from you. You got to get that through your head. Help you understand that. Okay. So you understand that you have this power in you to communicate with your ancestors. And I was talking to the man the other day that I'm posting. He just emailed me, which I got to email him back because me and him gonna be talking about Obia probably tomorrow. We're gonna be talking Friday. Friday, me and him gonna be talking about Obia. Because Nathan, if you're in here, you better be there too. I'm thinking I'm going to send you an invitation too at some point because you set this up. And Nathan, I hope you in here. I hope you reach out to me. But he the one set that up. Now I done lost my thought running my mouth. Okay. But again, I have to talk about these places because this is where our ancestors was. It didn't just happen in the South in America. You got to remember they took them all over the place. And me and him was talking about too. He had mentioned to me that the guy that's supposed to be doing that's supposed to be a special guest on the channel. And me and him got to talking because he do ancestor veneration. He's heavy into it. And he got to talking to me about his experiences, um, how he looked into Hinduism and how he got out of Christianity and how it was just ruining his people and how the ancestors had showed him so much and these different spiritual systems that he has learned and things like that. And then I started talking about Hinduism and we both started smiling. I said, do you see the ancestors? He said, I see the ancestors in that. I said, ain't it just something when you start following ancestors, you start seeing them everywhere? He said, yeah. But it was nice to see somebody else that was having that same experience with me. They were not religious, they were just following the ancestors, and all this stuff started coming up. And it's something when you start following the ancestors, they would start showing you stuff. You'd be like, why are you showing me this? Why are you telling me this? Just like they got me looking at Thailand stuff, and they let yesterday. I'm gonna talk about that if I can before I leave up out of here. But when I looked up at Thailand folk magic, why Thailand folk magic look like hoodoo, y'all? I said, what the hell? What the hell? I said, let me look up they folk magic. I started looking at they folk magic. I said, why they folk magic look like our stuff? Okay. Why they look like our stuff? And I'm telling you now, you get some of them over here, they dark as me. You got some Thailand people as dark as me. And I'm like, what am I looking at right here? What is happening over here with this? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to fix you up. There you go. Can y'all still see me over here? Because I don't want Kia getting mad at me. Okay, there we go. All right. That tripped me out. I said, this book, I said, oh my God, you look at that stuff, it look like hoodoo. They ancient folk magic look like hoodoo. They do some of the same stuff. I said, ancestors, what am I seeing here? What am I seeing? What are you showing me? So you'll be surprised when you start to see the ancestors. When you follow your ancestors, you're gonna see them somewhere everywhere. That's why I tell you the ancestors can reach you through anything, through anybody, at any time, at anywhere. It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, you'll miss them if you tied up in religion and you so caught up in that, you will miss it. But they not just in that. I can't even put it in the words for you. I can't even put in the words for you when you start following them. They they gonna feed you spiritually. Your soul gonna be full if you follow them. They don't withhold any wisdom from you, any good thing if you got the right intentions. You want to know, they gonna show you. Telling where they gonna take you. Okay, they're gonna show you where they at. That's the only way I can explain it, you guys. Because when I started looking at Hinduism and Buddhism, because he said when he started looking at Buddhism, because he started studying Buddhism, he started seeing ancestral spirits up in there. Okay, telling what it's gonna take you. Yeah, I know a lot of people trying to uh keep Hoodoo Christian. And I'm telling you now, if you follow your ancestors, you're gonna find way more than that. You're gonna understand why they understood those Christian concepts. They said they understood the esoteric meanings in there. Okay, they knew what they were talking about up in there. They weren't so much into the religion than they was understanding the mystery and esoteric teachings that's in that Bible. That's the most important thing to take away from there, not the Christianity. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's see. Hoodoo practitioners view the sycamore tree as an ascension, symbolizing the human soul climbs towards divine understanding. Beneath the sycamore, one might pray for a vision, wisdom, or revelations. So again, if you're working with these trees, you can work with different trees to do certain things as well. You can get as specific as you want to when you start working with trees and what reason you have working with a tree or putting an offering there or putting your work there. And like I said, a lot of our ancestors, that's why they did a lot of work outside. Now they going up in this church and they lost their damn mind and letting the preacher take advantage of them. They act like they crazy or something. Okay. But they was doing all this stuff outside. Well, nobody going up in this and they do it right now. They do it right now. Some of these voodoo ceremonies or Ifa ceremonies, any ceremonies like that, where they be outside. Outside, that's where they be. That's when people tell me, well, I can't do it. I just have to do it outside. Even better. Even better if you can do your work outside. Not many of us can do that. But if you can do it outside, you got the privacy and all that, do it. Because you can call all those elementals into your work and help you. Okay. So again, and then you have the cedar tree. Now I knew a lot of, I don't know why. I just like cedar trees. And the one another tree that I love, I don't know why I love that tree. I just love it, the weeping willow tree. I love weeping willow trees. They are so beautiful to me. And I like the magnolia tree too. You know, maybe I like more trees than I realized, but yeah. But one of my favorites is the weeping willow. I love the weeping willow trees. Cedar trees are very protective. Uh-huh. I done found me a new internet auntie. Yes, outside. Okay. So get over there by them trees. That's where you get within them trees. You're right. I look at it. You on the very uh communication. Ain't nothing but a cell phone. Okay. It can help you tap into your ancestors. They know you, they see you. You think they just seeing you as a body, but you got to remember you're looking in the spiritual realm. These trees are spiritual. Everything has a spiritual essence. So when they look at you, they already know your ancestors. They can look through 4 generations in you. They're looking through you. They can see your ancestors in you. They know you. Okay. I found the most beautiful, majestic oak, just beautiful. Honey, I seen some beautiful over there, but it was two big beautiful by the Arkansas River. Beautiful big oak trees. They just immaculate. I used to sit over there and talk to them trees sometime. Just sit and talk. Okay. So again, taking the time to immerse yourself in the land, connect with the land, talk to the land. The land again has a story to tell you. Those ancestors on the land got something to tell you. Sit with it, connect with nature, because this is the very nature you're using in hoodoo. They the one put the power in the work. Because if it wasn't for the water spirits, if it wasn't for the air spirits, if it wasn't for the earth spirits, wasn't for all these elemental spirits, your work wouldn't have no power to it. I hope that made sense to you. It's all these energies that's moving the work along. You got some people that just work with water. They can do some stuff with some water, and they can make a jump, hop, make it do. You got some people that got some dirt, baby. They can work some dirt. They can make some powders or some dirts and make some stuff jump and move. Your ancestors might have that for you. Your magic is going to be looking different. And then you about you going up here following somebody else's spell. You don't know what spirit told them to put that together like that. You don't know if there's a tag on there that's linked to the spirit. You don't know. Stop. Please stop doing other people's stuff. And believe me, ask your ancestor to show you work. It's gonna be simple and it's gonna make sense. Because they're not gonna have you doing advanced magic like that first. They know you're just beginning. So they're gonna have you doing some powerful magic with just simple stuff. And it's gonna work. And as you grow in your practice and you start working with other spirits, then your work will look more advanced. Does that make sense? Your oak trees are very comforting. They are. And you can also use the acorns. They're good for mojo bags for good luck and good fortune. Because the when you're looking at an acorn, you're looking at a full oak tree in the acorn. So yeah, you can use them. They're good to put in mojo bags for good luck, for prosperity. Yes, that's helpful. Thanks. Okay. So again, when you're looking at the tree, that tree is looking all the way through you. This is why I love your live and Patreon. I learned so much from you, and you tell it like it is. Thank you, Alicia Taylor. I try to be, sense and shucking and jiving about it. Got to tell you, you need to know anyway. Okay, you're gonna learn anyway. Get over there, you open up a book, it's gonna tell you. Okay, so I might as well tell you the truth. My first spell was a single candle and a brown paper bag, and it worked too. See, California 4. It be simple stuff. It be simple stuff. I'm doing stuff now in Thailand. I ain't got no whole bunch of herbs. But the ancestors have showed me how to work simple stuff with salt, simple stuff with sugar that's been impactful and powerful. I've had to use whatever I got. I have put some stuff together. Y'all see the stuff I put together. You be like, oh my gosh, Miss Penny, you making this, making it do what it do. You making it work. I sure am. I ain't gonna let nothing get in my way. I'm gonna keep this work going by any means necessary. Okay. Even saving old containers and all this kind of stuff to work magic with. I said, boy, I'm just like my folks. I'm doing just like our ancestors do it. They saving jelly jars and all this stuff to get work done. I'm doing the same thing over here. Okay. Yes, indeed. That's good advisement. Create our own magic spells and rituals. Always use what you got. And that's the most powerful thing. Now, you'll see me tell you to get certain things in your astro reading, but use what you got. Ask your ancestors. If that's all you got in there is some sentiment and all that, you know, and if you can use a substitute, use that. Okay, don't go out your way trying to break the bank and get all these herbs. Use what you got in your kitchen and your cabinet. It's gonna work just fine. Okay. Hoodoo, use what you got to get what you want. And that's exactly what I do. Okay. And even if I advise you stuff to get in your astro chart, again, use what you got. Don't try to break the bank. Ask your ancestors how they want you to do it. Okay. And ask them where they want you to start at and how they want you to do it. And just use what you have. That's enough. Your intentions is matters the most. Setting the intentions matters the most. Being focused on your work is what matters the most. Okay. If you just cinnamon, use cinnamon. If you just got rosemary, use rosemary. Depends on what's in your chart. Okay. If that's all you have, because if that's all I have in there and I don't have this and I don't have that, but then I'm going the others is gonna have to it, that conjure that mouth just gonna have to be fire. I'm gonna have to be more intentional about what I want. I don't let it get in my way. I just keep going. Okay. Got good night. Good night. Cool 9550. Okay. Now, trees are commanding culture reservoirs, forming borders, vessels for culture. In Africa, the firstborn tree is the seat of the community. The community grows, thrives along that tree. Its roots feed on the spiritual strength and traditional values. Individual trees and groves are sacred because of their ability to shield, keeping out invaders while germinating medicinal seeds, pods, mosses, ferns, bark, and fungi. The sacred grove is home to insects, birds, reptiles, animals, as well as divine spirits and ancestors. Angel oak, the sacred groves of Yoruba, and numerous other woods have ecological as well as social religious functions in community health that cannot be underestimated. Sacred groves are a traditional ancestral way of instilling sustaining biodiversity. Encouraging and honoring, respecting, and protecting healing groves is both ancestral custom and collective responsibility. So over there in the Yoruba tradition, they have different trees, groves of trees that represent the ancestors and some orishas. Did you know that? Trees were also used as maps. That's what McBaby 555 said. Trees were also used as maps. Okay, and they used to be bigger trees than that. And over there in America, they got you thinking that's a mountain, and you know darn well they don't like no mountain. They like they chopped down a tree over there. Now we had bigger trees than that. Too that kept a lot of good energy flowing in in that place. But they went over there and chopped them big old trees down, and then gonna tell you it's a mountain. No, it was a tree there, and you chopped it down. Big old giant tree. Like think of that tree like what they call Jack and the Beanstalk. You got trees that big that reached all the way into the heavens like that. And now they telling you, oh, it's a mountain. But if you look at the top of that mountain, it look like they chopped something off. Okay? They got rid of a lot of those sacred trees that we had. Okay? There was a mother tree. And the big mother tree that was connected to all the trees, they got rid of that tree. I know it doesn't make sense to you. I probably don't even make sense. Okay? But all our bigger trees, and you see the echoes over there, the redwood forest there in California, and you see other trees that we had trees bigger than that. We had trees that reached up into the heaven. We had a tree that reached up into the heavens. They got rid of those. Okay, so trees are very important. They're a connection between heaven and earth and into the realm of the ancestors. I was involved in Paradise Fire Trees Talk, believe me. They talk. I've heard them talking before. I've heard them talking to each other. Okay. So you're not just passing something. The better you understand this, I think the better your root work is. I think this information is so good for root workers because a lot of you guys are healers and you love working with plants, you love working with herbs, you love working with roots. Okay. And so to understand that you're working with these little bitty spirits, these powerful little bitty spirits, so to help you really understand, you're coming in contact with not just plants, you're coming in contact with spirits. And that, I think, and knowing that deepens the root work. You got people slapping stuff on stuff and ain't did no prayer over the plant. You ain't blow no smoke. You ain't blowed no rum. You ain't prayed over it. You ain't did none of that. You just slapping stuff in stuff. You ain't got no reverence for anything. I need to plant a new tree in my yard. Need to pick what type of type, and this has me thinking different. Yeah, you got some people that I knew a practitioner. She purposely was planting mint and sage in her yard for protection to draw prosperity. You had our ancestors doing that too. They'll plant different things around their yard to attract different energies and spirits or to protect the house. Yeah. Okay, you had ancestors doing that too. So you can be as creative as you want to. That's why I kind of don't show you spells or anything like that, because magic, your own magic is art. It's about being creative as you want to be. That's why you see other people's stuff don't look the same. It is an art, so you don't know how they're going to express their art and their craft. You don't know how the ancestors going to lead you to do that. So that's why you'll see everybody's stuff don't look the same. I prefer you that you don't show it, because uh you don't show it or don't give everything to your spells. A young man up here, he worked with dirts and water, and he was showing them how to make goofers dust and all that stuff. He'll tell them the general stuff, but he don't give people how he make it, and that's how it should be done. Because your ancestors gonna give you a specific way how to make goofers dust, how to make prosperity powders. They're gonna give you your own tag, what to put on that to make it work for you. It may not be the same as somebody else. Okay, my goofer dust may not look like other people's goofer dust, depending on what I put in it. It don't mean it ain't goofers dust. It's just that I put my own magic on it. And it need to be like that, because your magic is just like your fingerprint, your signature. Okay? I saw a try to look pregnant while walking through the woods tree. What you trying to say, Antoinette Williams? I didn't catch that, baby. I can't make sense of that. I saw a try to look pregnant while walking through the woods tree. Say that again, baby. I didn't understand that. Something are just too sacred. Yeah. So you don't want to show that. I always trip out when people want to come up here and show they spell and show. Why you can't keep that to yourself? That is the most important way to protect your mouth, is keep your mouth shut and don't let nobody see it. And you just can't do it. You just can't do it. All you gotta do is keep your mouth shut and don't show nobody your work. That's the way you protect your magic. Then here you go. You want to bring it up here. You want to show people. And then what goes further, people want to do it. People gonna try to do what you do. We so follow the leaderish. We love following people. I can't tell you enough how that jacks you up, because you need to be following the spirit and not a person. And you're scared to do that because you can't see it. But it's gonna help you to be more discerning. I meant to say tree. Okay, I'm still don't think I'm putting it together right in my mind. Okay, so again, you don't, and I know these people. Some of them are trying to be helpful. I want to think that they're trying to be helpful. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and think they're trying to be helpful. They're trying to be helpful. And we do appreciate them trying to be helpful, but it doesn't really help you if you don't understand the spiritual science behind the work. And they were given that. They put that together. They were led by a spirit to put that together that way. They got you thinking they're doing magic by themselves. I don't know a person that's picking up magic and doing anything magical without a spirit. Oh, you using a spirit. You best believe me. They got you thinking, oh, I'm magical. I got the power. No, you don't. Stop playing. You calling on the spirit. All them elements are nothing but spirits helping you in that magic. You are guiding the intention But there's other spirits in there, man. You got fire. You, again, look at what they got going on. And see, I know what I'm looking at. When I see them start showing stuff, I'm like, that's gonna require working with a spirit. I know it when I see it, especially us long time practitioners. We know when we looking at when they come show y'all something, that's gonna require working for a spirit. Stop telling them that's magic and they're gonna be able to do it this way. And you know darn well they're gonna have to work with a spirit. They can't, they're not gonna be able to do that like that. A lot of us we know, but some of y'all don't know because you don't know how it works. Okay? It's some stuff they are showing you, and it's gonna require you working for a spirit. I don't know if they keeping that out of there and then want you to make a mistake. It don't work for you, and then you hire them to have to do it because they know they're working with a spirit to get it done. But they don't tell you it's going to be ongoing work. You might have to stretch that out 3 to 7 days. I got work like that now. I got to be on it every day. Got to be on it, be on it, be on it, until I see get the result, till it meets my requirement, till it hits the target. It's working. I see it working. But to keep it moving along, I got to keep working on it. I gotta stay on. Gotta keep it moving in the direction I want it to move. Some magic is like that. That's why people say, "Hoodoo is magic." Is it really, or is it a spiritual science? Which one is it? And you ain't gonna see it till you get over there with me, and you start learning stuff, and you start seeing it. It's gonna knock your socks off. How come you didn't know it worked like that? Why didn't anybody tell you? That was my questions when you see it work. Because you're gonna get over there and see that it work, and you're gonna get in my box and say, "Oh, Miss Penny, that worked. Thank you." I see it too many times. When I had my awakening during the pandemic, I was out of work. I spent most of my time meditating in nature preserved in my neighborhood and Long Island. I had so much insight back then. Yeah, when you get close to nature, it's that pandemic, it reset us. That started our shadow work. That's what that was there for. It was meant to reset us, to get our attentions, and it started a lot of our shadow work. People start realizing who was the narcissist and who was the empath. It helped a lot of people. Okay, a lot of people started their healing journey during the pandemic. They started finding out everything that was wrong with them because they had to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Okay, the world was real quiet then. You want to ride around a whole bunch of people. You can't do nothing but sit down and look at yourself. That's all you could do. Okay, and so much insight came out of that. A lot of people started waking up. A lot of spiritual awakenings started to happen during that time. Okay, so again, looking at trees, looking at nature, getting close to nature, because y'all, we're going through that again. We're always going to look at nature. We're always going to look at the land. And as we move on over there in our community, you're learning more about. We're going directly to hoodoo now. I'm gonna keep you into hoodoo like that for a little while. Okay, since we have covered all the elements, now I'm going to immerse you in the folk magic. And so when you're looking at these books, the most important thing to gain when you're looking at these books that people are giving you about spell remedies and putting things together is not to do the spell exactly like them, but for it to give you structure on how to create your own spell. Not to do it exactly like that, but it's giving you an idea how to create that sort of structure in your own spell. Okay? That's just like hot foot powder. We already know what going hot foot powder with. Some hot got to go in there, cayenne pepper. Okay? Some people put sulfur in it. So they're giving you the basic elements. And if you want to add something in there to put your umph on it, to put your signature on it, to add to your creativity, to make it your art, then you'll do that. That's why you don't have people that share everything they use in their work. And then you don't know what your ancestors or your spirit guides going to tell you to use for you to put a signature on there or to link it to them. You don't know. And sometimes it happens. I'm so glad you popped into my feed. You are speaking true. Oh, you're welcome, Kia. Thank you. Okay, so it might look different. Don't, that's why I said don't be careful out here. And I know people mean well, they want you to learn, they're showing you things, and some of it is pretty good, you know. But always use your discernment and remember that your magic, even in hoodoo, is about your creativity and art. Okay, you can be as creative as you want to with the work that you do. It may not look like somebody else's, but it doesn't mean that it's not hoodoo. It's hoodoo. But if your work is looking exactly like somebody else's work, then I'm gonna be side eyeing you and be like, okay, what part of this is you? Because this look like somebody else. This don't look like your ancestor stuff. It don't look like you. What part of this work is you? And I love it when people start doing stuff. They tell me they doing stuff I've never heard of before, but it's working for them because that's how they express their magic. That's how their ancestors are telling them to do it. Okay, and a lot of it don't look pretty either. A lot of hoodoo work don't look pretty. Ain't meant to be pretty. Ain't meant to have glitter and all that stuff on it. Some of it don't look pretty, but it worked. Okay. Now the ancient concept of healing through water, salts, earth, fire, air was passed down to us, bringing a powerful synergistic healing as shape provided by fusion of elements. This healing modality has been embraced and transformed by the contemporary ADRs or African derived religions like Quimbos, Hoodoo, Voodoo. This turn helps our mind and spirits ascend, elevating us to a new capacities for compassion and healing. So again, we knew the power of all these elements through all our ADRs or ATRs. You're gonna see us use water. You're gonna see us use herbs. You're gonna see us use salt, fire, air. We're gonna use all those elementals in our work across the ATRs or ADRs. We're naming that. Okay, you're gonna see it up in there. You're gonna see those nature spirits, those elements up in there. And one thing I like about our spiritual science, it seems to stay consistent. Even though there's variables in it, it seems to stay consistent across the board. Okay. It seems to stay pretty much consistent when it comes to the elements we got in there. But just like religions, I see that with some of our spiritual practice. We have our different denominations and our differences because you see them kind of go back and forth with each other. Some of the ATRs, Lakumi, Palo, some of them they will go back and forth with each other. And you'll have people say over there that they're not doing it the traditional way we do it over here. And we'd have told them they're doing it wrong. So you'll have that going on with them. But for the most part, they're following their ancestors and they're following their own creative magic. So, you know, I think they can let each other off the hook for that. But some people just love tradition. They just love tradition. You see that in hoodoo. They get mad. That ain't there. You ain't got the Bible in there. That ain't hoodoo. Well, you sound just like them Christian people. You ain't doing the Bible. You ain't doing hoodoo. Well, honey, them folks is doing hoodoo before they had a Bible. The magic was in them before they had the Bible. Explain that because you don't sound right when you're saying it. The folks already had they the one put the power in the Bible. Is you understand what you're saying here? The Bible didn't have no power, no magic in it till they picked it up and start opening their mouth using it. Make it make sense, y'all. Them folks already had what happened to the folks that went over there and made up that stuff and they don't even use the Bible in there. They magic work without the without the Bible now. Make it make sense. Our ancestors put power in that Bible. They were looking at the esoteric and occult knowledge in the Bible. That's why we use it as a grimoire. A grimoire, okay? So the folks they was doing hoodoo and all that stuff without the Bible. It's already in them. So stop trying to make hoodoo Christian because it's not. It is not. It's a spiritual science. And if you look at hoodoo, but now I tell people that it go to looking like Obia because Obia, you go up in there and you know tell them what you're gonna see because they have studied all the spiritual systems and they know how to work with all spirits. They are masters at that. And another thing that get people, because me and the gentleman was talking, and he said, the guest, because he just answered back in the email, so I guess we're gonna be doing that discussion. And Nathan, I hope you in here too. I got to keep calling out to Nathan, Lord. I might have to email him too. But what he said, one of the things that we have to understand that we are innately gifted in necromancy. I said, don't tell them that because they got mad at me when I cut talking that. I said necromancy in here, and somebody said, "Ooh," they said, "Ooh, you make it sound so." What did she say? Well, I think she said it was too intense when I said necromancy, but I can't get around that. We're doing necromancy, you got. I'm sorry. When we're talking to the ancestors, when we're talking to spirits, it's a form of necromancy. When you go and get that graveyard dirt and you need it in your work, that's a form of necromancy. Necromancy is heavily in our spiritual practice. We talk to dead people. That's what it is. Now I can put it lightly for you and call it mediumship. If you want me to say mediumship, you want me to say that? Did that sound better for you? But you're doing necromancy. You are a natural necromancer. You have that because of the relationship you have with your ancestors. You just can talk to dead people. You just can talk to spirits. And I know y'all, some of y'all is scared, like, ooh, Miss Penny, don't say that. I'm not saying in the bad, but these people the one named it that. I ain't the one named it that. But for a lack of a better term, I have to say it like that to you. Now, if you want me to use medium, I can say medium. But that's what it is, you guys. And when he said that, I told him the same thing. But somebody got scared and was like, Miss Penny, that's just too much. I think that is too much, but that's what it is, baby. That's why I teach you necromancy. I give you a full book of necromancy so you can see it. I don't know how many people see it. I didn't read it because it could, it seemed kind of scary, but you need to know it because that's what's in your bloodline. They got you scared of your own self, your own power. But you best believe they working with spirit. They the one fostered in the spirit. Well, I wouldn't say it was them because it was the Paschal man that was teaching them about spiritism. But they got really into spiritism. Them folks doing necromancy all the time. They ain't doing it the right way, but yeah, they the one talking to spirit. Then when they gonna talk to spirits and all that stuff, but they don't want you talking to your ancestors. But then they come right behind you and try to learn necromancy. They the one fostered the spiritism. Okay, our ancestors love us. There's nothing to be afraid of. Yeah. You just that you have that natural in your blood, they gonna call you, oh, it's dark, it's black magic, it's evil. No, it just get your ass in shape. It's power. Now, if it was Christian and it didn't have no power in it, now that you'll love that, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you love that? But now they got some power on it and lay your ass on your back. It's evil now, huh? It's evil now. Once it gets some justice and get righteous, now it's evil because it gets you straight. Okay, but if it didn't have no power with it, you love that. That's why y'all gave us that Bible, because, honey, y'all knew it wasn't no power in it, but you put it in our hand. What you didn't realize is you was giving it to people that had power already in them. That's what you didn't know. That was your biggest mistake. That's what you didn't know that. You didn't know them people already had power in there. And they gonna make that they was gonna put some power in those words in that Bible. And then they was gonna use it like you was using it on them, they was gonna use it on you. And that's what our ancestors did. You ain't know who you was messing with, but you found out real quick, didn't you? You found out real quick, didn't you? I'm not afraid of those that I have walked before me. I listen to their warnings. Exactly. And you didn't think that was gonna happen, huh? That ancestors, okay, we're gonna flip this whole thing around flip it on your head. I love when they flip the script. Okay, they flipped the script. We're gonna go ahead and make Moses a conjure man. We're gonna make that Jesus you got, we're gonna make him a conjure man too, because that's what they doing. They some of them folks is mad. They was mad at some of the hoodoo practitioners. One of them presidents said he didn't want to. He had to do something on the 13th. He said he didn't even want to do it on the 13th because he felt like he was honoring the hoodoo tradition. Yeah, you had some of them politics that were mad, honey. Okay, they was mad because our ancestors they was flipping it on their head, and that's how you do. You flip the script. That's what that story about how John the Conqueror is about. How to flip the script. Don't let them get on. Don't just flip it right back on their head. Okay, you don't know how to flip it, and that's what our ancestors did. Yeah. What's up with that? With that, like you can go have coffee with your dead relatives in the sky. Okay, I don't understand that question. Yeah, what's up with that? Like you can go have coffee with your dead relatives in the sky. So they tripped me out. Okay, they thought they didn't know who they was dealing with. They was dealing with people that had more spirit in their body than them folks had in their pinky toe. You gonna try to, honey? You ain't know who they didn't know who they was messing with. Okay, our ancestors didn't let them do that. Didn't let them do that to them like that. They tried. The Bible believes heaven in the sky and hell is below us. Yeah, they created it up. Now, see, I want to talk about that too. I think Baba Hemi kind of hit on that. So when they're telling us that that was the most dangerous thing, and I think that's something that we need to uh decolonize that, because when they're telling us about these heavens and hell, you know what they're doing? They're programming us with these archetypes. So now we have adopted that archetype, and now we really believe in a heaven or hell. Those are their archetypes. We don't believe in that in hoodoo. And none of our spiritual science, we don't believe that. But see, they programming us with their archetype. And so that's important for you to decolonize. The only thing we had was the land of the ancestors. That's it. We didn't know nothing about no hell or heaven or none of that. Okay, these people are programming us with their archetypes, and we got to get this stuff out of mind, because you got some people now, and I know you've heard people, oh, I went to heaven, and yeah, you probably did go to heaven because you got that archetype in your consciousness. You probably did go to hell. I don't doubt it, because you downloaded that archetype into your consciousness. So now for you, you can experience a hell. Because they feeding you all them lies. That's why our ancestors knew that stuff wasn't healthy for us. They didn't want us teaching that kind of stuff. They knew something was wrong with them people even telling us stuff like that. Okay, then they program you with this devil and demon, because the more you look in demons and things like that, you find out first these things manifest within your consciousness. Okay, and now you got the devil they told you outside is outside of you is now on the inside of you, because they program you with it. They programmed you with the devil and the demon when they was telling you about it. They was putting it in your archetype, in your consciousness. You got some people that see Jesus. Yeah, you see Jesus because they programmed that with you with that archetype. So you probably really do see this Jesus. That's they program you with that. So you probably do see it. The white man programmed us with think our heaven in the sky while they had heaven on earth. Exactly. And created a hell for you. You living in the hell while he living in the heaven right there in front of your eyes. They created this stuff, okay? And so a lot of decolonization has to happen there. And I've had people say, I still got it in me so strong. They got so much religious trauma that they still think they gonna go to hell by talking to their ancestors. And you talking to somebody that's dead, that don't even make no sense. You talking to everybody in that Bible is dead. And then you gonna get mad at somebody because they talking to their ancestors. But yet everybody in that Bible, they don't even live no more. But y'all following them. And they're doing the same thing with their ancestors. Make it make sense, y'all. Help me. Because we don't sit down and do no critical thinking. We got so much going on with our government trying to do everything to us. We trying to survive, and they know that too. Because when you in survival mode, you can't think right. You just trying to do the best you can. And they taking advantage of that. Okay? You know, dang on well, everybody, then you're going to get mad at me talking. If I'm talking to a demon, so is you. You following demons. Okay? Because everybody in there dead. Even your Jesus. Okay? Yes, ma'am. It's scary times, but as women, we can't afford to be afraid. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy as hell. But, you know, and I'm going to take this even further. And I don't mean to man bash anything like that. But only a man will come up with some stuff like that because they the one created this stuff, this patriarch bull crap. You stealing stuff, your story don't be right, stuff don't sound right, none of that stuff. Okay? Don't make no sense. They just messing up stuff. Okay, messing everybody up with this mess. That's what's going on there, baby. I'm so sorry. Yes, ma'am. It's scary. Giving us fear in another way of controlling us. Yeah. Knowing you ain't there ain't no they making that stuff up. And you ask me if it really was a hell, they wouldn't live like the devil. Okay? Them folks live like the devil. The devil they talk about, that's how they live. Okay? So you got to be careful out here what you're listening to. And then decolonizing yourself with this going to take a time because it's some people that actually they're actually afraid to move into hoodoo or ancestral veneration because they're still trying to deprogram that stuff out of their head. And then I got to sit down and talk to them and make that, make sense of it. Just like I just told you, it don't make no sense. You're gonna call me to call. I talk to my dead ancestors. That's wrong. That's evil. But you see, your whole Bible is about dead people, and that ain't evil, and they ain't demons. So make that make sense to me. Yeah, that Y chromosome disappearing. That's fading away really fast too. That's why I've told these women, you think it ain't about you. It's always been about you. They fooling you. Okay, them folks are doing everything, try to control your portals and your bodies and all that stuff. They didn't even made it. They even got in their book. If you do this for Allah, you're gonna get 800 wives and stuff. We gotta mean something because y'all show giving us a lot of value. Okay, so you think it's not about you, women. It's totally about you. It's always been about controlling the divine feminine. And I would just listen to now. Don't get me wrong. I like Bobby Hemmett. I like Bobby Hemmett, don't get me wrong, but this is what I think with this because we have too many of these men that gets propelled in front of us when it comes to metaphysics, and y'all that you don't need to be there doing that. It just doesn't make a sense to me that a man is telling the story of spirituality and humanity, and you don't give birth to children. You're not going to get that totally right. And I've seen him when he talks about the divine feminine, because I heard him say, "No, it's not. Now you're not supposed to be bound down to no woman, and now both of y'all supposed to be bound down to a God. So now you took her divinity outside of her. So either way it go, you're gonna be bound down to the divine feminine, Bobby. It don't even matter. You're gonna be bound down to a woman. That's the problem. Don't separate. You tried to disconnect us from ourselves. And so when you see this, and I don't know if they do it on purpose, is something going on in their mind? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. But what you need to understand is you don't need to be telling no story of humanity and talking about what's going on with us because you don't embody that type of divinity. And so I don't know if their ego gets in the way and they try to minimize the power of women. I don't know if that goes on. And then y'all just, it makes it hard for y'all because I know y'all have that pride, that ego thing. That's why I don't think, stop telling our story. Stick to you. Because when you start trying to speak to him, because you're not a woman, how you going to talk about us? You don't carry children. You don't know the shift and changes that goes on in our mind and body. Like when we have children, when I first had my baby, and I'm just going to explain this, I'm going to let y'all go. Because I've been on here for a while now. I'm sorry. We get on y'all nerves. When I first had that child, my first baby, I didn't know what kind of mama I was gonna be. Am I gonna be a good mama? I don't even like toting no purse. Look at me. You're really scared when you're first mom. Then something about that 6 and 7 month, you start nesting. You start buying stuff, getting the baby bed together. Your mind start changing. Something, it's different stages and different hormones unlocking within the woman. See, y'all don't. We have a cosmic connection. Watch these mother maternal animals around you. Again, we are connected directly with nature. And then when that baby born, something happens. We know exactly what to do. We know how to nurture that baby, feed that baby, play with that. Something unlocks in our mind. It's certain stuff we ain't gonna do because now we got that baby. No, 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 no. We become the protector. We would chop your head off about that baby. You better not even think about doing nothing to that baby. We're gonna take care of that baby. It's something in our mind. You don't have children, so you don't understand it. Stop speaking on stuff you don't know nothing about. And stop telling our story because it ain't your story. Now, you probably have learned something spiritually that the ancestors taught you, but you're not the original embodiment of the divine. You're just a piece of that. And without the XX chromosome, us, you will not be here. So stop trying to tell our story and tell us what it is and ain't, because all that spiritual science come from us. Now, I've seen him talk up. Now, he talk about the good things, but every time I've seen them talk about the divine feminine, they get it wrong every time, and they start beating on their chest like they the one. Boy, get somewhere and sit down. Be quiet. Stop telling our story. You need to stop telling women's story. And I wish there were more women, the way they propel men in front of us telling this story. I wish they would propel women like that. But they love propelling these men in front of us and ain't gave birth to no child. Why would you listen to him? Look at Meg Baby 555 says as soon as she got birth, if something happened to us when we have birth, that's why we would knock your head off about messing with that child. You think you're a protector? No, your mama was your first protector. You ain't never seen a mama trying to, honey, mess with a woman's child, and won't no man be able to come up against her. You start messing with that baby. You start messing with that baby, honey. King Kong come out of her. Incredible Hulk come out of her. You go to messing with her baby. You won't get away from them real quick. You start messing with her baby. You talking about the man was a protector. Ain't nothing like a protector like a woman. I remember we was growing up. My mama didn't want no male. She didn't want no male dog. She did not want no male. She wanted a woman. She wanted a female dog. She said because they're more fierce. They don't let shit slide. And that's all we when we was growing up. That's what we had. We had female dogs. My mama said they were better protectors. She didn't want no male dog. The white man programmed us to think our heaven is in the sky. Well, that's where women lift cars, are their babies, and they become super strength, etc. Okay, and you don't want to mess with no woman. I remember my friend was telling me. Y'all probably heard this story before. She said she was fighting with her boyfriend, and her baby was sitting on the couch. She said, Peter, he was getting the best of me at first. You know, he was getting the best of me. We was fighting. He said, but he messed around and threw something at me and hit my baby. He said that changed the whole thing. He looked at her. He said, Wanna, I'm sorry, Wanna. I didn't mean to hit him. I'm sorry, sorry, sorry. She said, girl, I wore him out. She said, I beat him all over that room. I beat him all over that room. But he knew he had messed up when he hit that baby. Because some kind came over her. He was trying to apologize, but he knew that he was going to get that business. She said, I wore him out. I wore him out. How dare you? She said, but he was getting the best of me at first until he hit my baby, and then I just let him have it. Okay? So you don't know no protecting until you seen you mess with a mama's baby. You understand me? Because we have to protect. We are a protector of a child that will one day die, but we don't care. We're gonna protect them. We even protect them when they grown. It never stops. That's why they say mama's baby, daddy's maybe. That's why they say that. Yeah, that's gonna forever be our baby. You understand me? But you don't understand women. You don't give birth to children. You don't know the psychological, uh, you know, effects, the things that go on with that in our bodies, and the connection, the cosmic connection that we have. So you don't need to be telling that story. You need to be talking about your journey only. And if when it comes to talking about the divine feminine, sit down and let the women talk about it because they have experience, they lived it. We live it every day. You don't. Okay, you wouldn't even have the wisdom that you have it not been from the great mother. That's where it's all coming from. So I think too we need to stop letting them tell our stories and stop wanting to tell our story because you don't give birth to children. And no bash to men or nothing like that. Don't you think you've talked long enough? You've been the only one talking about our story. Let the woman talk. Okay? You talked about it enough. I wanted to break the cycle. There was no way I was going to raise my son like that. It's passed down. Yep, I get it. That's what they trying to hide. Okay. So I ain't bashing men at all. I just, why would you want to? I'm not telling your story. I'm not finna go and sit up and tell your story. Why would you want it? And to me, it's like you're trying to control the narrative or you're trying to really minimize our power. Okay, but believe it, our bodies again are aligned with cosmic energy. We have a moon cycle that's linked to the moon. Y'all don't have that. There's nothing in your body cosmically that is linked to the cosmos like it is the woman. We are in tune with nature. You can just look at it. Look at it. Who are the animals following in nature? Are they following their father or they follow their mother? Who they following? Who they following? Okay. So that's all you got to do is sit down and think. You shouldn't want to tell our stories because you don't know nothing about it. You don't have children. You don't give birth to children. You don't carry children. You don't know. You don't know what goes on with us psychologically, our hormones. And especially when we get in our 50s, we get our mind open up to more wisdom. We start knowing stuff in nature. Your mind just open up more, especially when we call going to our crown stage. Okay, we just our body we are again cosmically linked with nature, and our body and mind goes through so many changes that's connected with the earth. So you don't have this body, you don't live like that. Hell, y'all minimized our cramps until somebody had to show you how it feel. That we got to put a simulator on you for you to understand how cramps feel. So how the hell stop telling our story? That's all I gotta say. Okay, I'm done with that. At 70, it's wonderful. Again, and we get in our 50s and stuff. I walk around here now, I'm in my 50s. I don't give a damn about what no man think. These men be looking at me. I don't care. I'm not worried about you. Hell, I don't even want to put no clothes on no more. Sometimes not even a bra. Bras get on my nerve now. And I don't even care. I think that's a beautiful thing when women get to that stage where we're not trying to appease men and we are being true to ourselves. We're doing what's good for us. That's a beautiful thing to get to that stage. Right now, it used to be a time I used to want to look pretty for the men and all that stuff, and then, peacocking and all that stuff. Now I don't really care. Mm, I don't care. Not even for that. Really appreciate you not trying to, look at me like that. You know. So that's just me, you guys. I say, God, I'm glad I caught you again. You really be dropping knowledge and jewels. And thank you, Bobby Tucker. It be the ancestors that be dealing with me. Okay. And maybe I thought I had my little notes up here talking about I'll have to come back here and talk about Thailand folk magic. I was very intrigued with Thailand's folk magic. And it trips me out. But it makes sense because when you start looking at their ancestors, the further you go back and look at their ancestors be looking like me. So you got, but I'm gonna come here and talk about their folk magic. I forgot the name of it, but their folk magic look just like hoodoo. They do some of the same things we do in hoodoo. They do in their folk magic. I was I'm amazed. I'm just when the ancestors be showing you stuff, it amazes me. They just share things with you, so many things with you, and help grow you and give you so much wisdom. Okay, yes, I have come to learn. It's also money of none of my business what other people think of me. You sure right? I don't really care. You sure right, baby? Yes, ma'am, a lot. And you haven't ever started on a bottle magic. I think we talked about bottle magic the other day. We talked about container magic. That should be on the YouTube channel. We talked about container magic. Did we talk about? I'd look at that and see, but I thought we did talk about container magic. Okay. Truly appreciate you, your ancestors. Ashe, 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 ashe. Okay. Kia, I'm in my 50s too. Girl, I know you don't even be feeling like doing you in your 50s. I remember I used to go out of my way and wear these high heel shoes to hurt my damn foot and all that stuff, trying to look pretty. You know. Now I'm in my 50s. I can care less. I don't even care. Don't even look at me like that. Okay, don't even look at me like I'm not even interested in it. I don't even know what the hell I was thinking about. I go back there and say, I don't even know what I was thinking about. Put myself through all that stuff, honey. It ain't worth it. Okay, they don't. And my youngest daughter, I like her because she said if they don't like me like this, they don't like me. I don't care. She ain't impressed at all. She ain't gonna do none of it. She ain't gonna do no makeup. She ain't gonna wear no heels. They better like me like this, or they don't like me. Okay. Yeah, them stilettos hurt. Trying to look cute. Know your feet hurt you and all that stuff. Trying to look messing up your hips and your back and all that stuff. Getting corns on your feet and all that stuff. Trying to look sexy. You don't see them trying to do all that stuff for you. It's ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. And I ain't trying to be funny. And put it in perspective for me. This is an inferior species I'm doing this with. He come from me. He come from me. Why am I doing all this? He comes from me. And I'm not doing any man bashing. Again, I'm just speaking facts, and I think it should be spoken more to dismantle a lot of this misogyny, and so it will help men to accept the real reality of things. Because what I'm seeing, and God knows I love Bobby Hemmett, but when I see him talk about the divine feminine, he have described it as chaos, as disorder, and I'm just like, here we go again. Stop talking about. Stick to what you learn. And if you want to have that up there, let a woman talk. You can't talk about her because of the power she holds. You would never be able to fathom or comprehend the changes and the shifts that we go through. You're talking about somebody who is cosmogenetically linked uh, to everything around them. She has a moon cycle that's connected to the moon. You put women in the room and they have different cycles. If you keep them in that room long enough, they're gonna come on. Their moon cycle gonna come on at the same time. Do y'all do that? Do you do that? Did you know as long as you breastfeed, you're not supposed to get pregnant because breastfeeding is a form of birth control? Do your body do that? Do you produce milk? We are God. We produce food, milk, protection, and everything for our loved ones. We are God in the flesh. We are living earth on the flesh. Just like the earth nurture you and all that and feed you, we do the same thing. Do your body do that? But if your body don't do that, then be quiet and stop trying to minimize our roles. Because if your mama hadn't stuck a bottle, a breast, or something in your mouth, you wouldn't be here. You come from a woman, so just cut it out, okay? Being programmed us to think our cycle was nasty the whole time. It's sacred as hell. You hear me? Was nasty the whole time. We are the highest. Gave birth to the three sons, and they nursed for up to 3 years. Okay. Once I started questioning everything, nothing made sense. Okay. It tripped me out. You come out that womb and you spend your whole life trying to get back up in there after you come out of there. You tell me what it is. Y'all come out and can't wait to go back in there. Can't wait. That's what you do. Okay. Alicia Taylor, she ain't lying, honey. Y'all not lying. And I'm not man bashing. Miss Penny, what city are you in? I'm trying to identify your accent. I'm living in Thailand, but I'm from Arkansas. I'm a southern girl. I'm from Arkansas, but I'm living in Thailand right now. Okay. So, honey, and I'm not trying to man bash, but And you even see that in some of the ATRs. Some of the women don't have to go through these rituals for divination like some of the men priests do. Why? Because when women are, again, innately intuitive. We were born with that in us. So we don't have to go through a lot of these divination uh rituals and stuff like some of the other priests have to do. They'll tell you that because you are innately, again, intuitive. Okay. I hear wonderful things about women living in Thailand. Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. Okay. I'm looking at Vietnam too now, so I don't know. I'm liking Vietnam too. So again, I'm learning a lot too, cause when I went out these places, and then, on TV they had the folks looking like they pale face, and when I come here and these folks I done seen these folks as dark as me, trip me out. And now it's making sense why people was mistaking me for other nationalities. I said, no, one of these people thinking I was Lord, this thing. I said, no, one of these people thinking I'm from somewhere else, because I look just like these folks look like me. Okay. No one of them be uh we go to different places and they mistake us for different nationalities because them folks looking like us, or we looking like them folks. Okay. The beauty is in Thailand. It's exquisite. Everything is art. The food is excellent, fresh and cheap. Yep. I like it because they're spiritual. They're not going to look at me crazy when I go down there and be working with trees and stuff. Them folks don't look at me crazy. They don't bother me. They don't ask me no questions or nothing. Okay. If I'm doing something out there, doing something spiritual, they're so spiritual. That's what I like about it. I love when I get in their car and they got an altar in their car. Okay. I love when I'm walking down the street, it's an altar everywhere. They came to my house the other day. I had the altar up. They passed it like it wasn't nothing. They didn't even look at it. You know what I'm saying? I love that because it's normalized now. If I was in America, they'd have been looking, what you got going on? What is that you doing? What? You know. Thank you. Thank you. Time stamping army. Okay. So that's what I like about it. I just feel so free here. I don't know how to put it into words. I don't feel restricted here. I can just be who I want to be, and I have to worry about people judging me because of my spiritual practice, because it's normalized here because they're so spiritual. Okay, so if they see me doing something that would be probably weird in America, but here is normalized. They see me doing some spiritual stuff. It wasn't freak them out. They don't wonder about it. Okay, and I've had better results with that with the Hispanics and foreign people than I had with my own people. Okay. It sounds like I would feel more comfortable over there in my own spirit. You will be. You will be. I've seen these people prostrate themselves in front of altars and just start praying. I mean, we don't do that over there. We don't do that over there. So it's definitely gave me a freedom, and then made me, look at them, because I told you I looked at they folk magic and I'm saying, ancestors, why they look like y'all? You one told me to look at this. Why does that look like that? And the gentleman, he said he asked the same questions when the ancestors have him looking at stuff, you know. So I think this is going to be an interesting lecture, interesting discussion, and this guest is going to be able to expand more on a bill. But one thing that he and I agree on, because I have people coming in here and want to know more about Obia. And the most important thing that you need to understand about Obia, and I don't think you know what you're asking for. Okay, it's like this, jumping into these religions. You're getting over into Obia. If you're interested in that, you have to understand. And a lot of people want to go in there. With much of that power comes a lot of commitment and devotion. You think you're gonna be coming out here, living a normal life. No, you ain't. You ain't gonna be like nobody else. Okay? And I'm just telling you. I don't think y'all phantoming. You're not phantoming what I'm telling you about Obia. I don't think because you're talking about a science. You got to read every occult book to comprehend it. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Have you seen some of the occult books? Many of those occult books, and they telling you got to learn that to be able to master it. And have you looked at the lives of most of these Obia men and women because they don't fool with people? I don't even think they human. I've said this. I don't think they human. So, and I told him, he said, yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Um, he said, that I do agree with you on. I don't think that people fully understand when they're saying they want to know more about Obia and really comprehend it. I don't think they understand the magnitude of it. So hopefully we'll be able, he'll be able to break that down. Everything isn't so based on being Christian. Now, honey, these folks over here is not Christian, and these folks don't be stealing stuff and taking stuff and doing horrible stuff to people. Honey, them folks can come out here and leave their car running. Ain't nobody gonna run off with it. You do that over there in America, somebody gonna run off with your stuff. Okay, you can do that in a lot of these countries. You can leave your door wide open. Ain't nobody coming in there taking nothing. Okay, these folks have the food and stuff sitting outside, groceries and stuff sitting outside. People pass it, don't touch it, don't mess with it. That wouldn't happen in America. Somebody gonna run off with your stuff. Okay, and then they call you. You think you got great morale over there, and then you gonna tell these people they gonna go to hell because they religion. No, you gonna go to hell because you raggedy. You don't even practice your own religion. Stop pointing at other people with your raggedy self. Won't tell other people they gonna go to hell. No, you raggedy. Okay, these people got more spirit in they whole body than you doing your pinky toe. You gonna tell these people where they going, honey? These people got morals and ethics and stuff. They keep their ancestors before them all the time. They got altars everywhere. Okay, they're not brainwashing people. Okay, some of them people they just telling a lie. Okay, you have to see it for yourself. Does anybody else have any questions for me? Because I done kept y'all long enough. I guess we're gonna talk about um title and folk magic another day. Because I'm gonna dive in a little more. And it's gonna knock y'all socks off of what I find out over here. Because it tripped me out. I was looking at it last night. I said, let me look at this. Foundation of Black Americans Have Life. What that mean? Time stamping army. Foundation of Black Americans Have Life. What that mean? Time stamping army. Now these foundational Black Americans, they've been going back and forth. And what's his name? What's his name? Tariq Sanid or Tariq? I don't know what to say about that going back and forward. Definitely something going on with in our community with the Africans and African Americans. And the only thing I can say about that is that let us be us unique. We know who we are. Don't be trying to change it to something else. And don't try to come in and minimize our experience. Okay? So, there's definitely some conflict going on between the African and the African Americans here. Uh, we are a culture. We are a nation. Okay, we are in that, and there's a breakdown. You think we ain't got no culture, but you're telling yourself a lie because everybody copying our music, our dancing, our style. Even y'all do. We hot over here. We got the sauce. It ain't a nation or culture that I go to that ain't trying to be black. They even got these Thai people putting braids in people hair, micro braids in people in stuff hair. You understand me? They even dress like us. So for you to say that we ain't got no culture, who you playing with? Cause ain't nobody trying to dress like y'all. Ain't nobody trying to sing like y'all. They try to do everything we do. Okay. So I hope we get it together. I pray to ancestors that we get it together and that you guys start looking at us as a nation rather than orphan broken people because we're not that. Our ancestors made sure we're not that. We created a whole culture. Everybody know we got the sauce. Okay, everybody trying to talk like us, walk like us, be like us. Even you trying to be like, so for you to be saying that, you know, we're not trying to separate, you know, I don't know what's going on here, but you have to respect us as a nation of people because that's who we are and we do have culture. There is no American culture without black culture. It just won't exist. American culture is black culture. That's what that is. Okay? And get it together. And I hope we get it to I hope we get it right, you know. And I don't agree with everything Tariq Nasheed is say, cause honey, he can be a troll sometimes. Some things that he be trolling them people. Cause some of the stuff he be saying, I said, brother, I want you to be able to represent, but sometimes you just trolling these people being a little bit too ugly. So I don't agree with everything he said, but I understand where he coming from. Okay. He be trolling them people, girl. He be trolling them Africans like that. And I be like, don't do that. Just say what you gotta say and stop being ugly. Sometimes he be being ugly. And not wanting to fall out with them because we do have a kinship together. We do. I don't want to fall out with them. But then there needs to be a respect for each of our culture and stop trying to absorb us into you. And I feel like there's some absorption trying to come in. Now we have already people have tried to do that and don't do that. Okay, y'all got your own stuff. Stop trying to absorb us into you. Now we didn't pick the name African American. Jesse Jackson did that. Even when I'm abroad, when people ask me, "Where you from?" America. What are you? I'm American. I don't never have to say Black American. I'm American. That's simple. Abroad, that's what I'm looked at as an American. I'm American. You're African. Now Jesse Jackson did that stupid stuff, and there we go with them bow late people, and the jury is still out, you know, about our history because we had Afro Indigenous Americans there as too. So how much African blood do we do have? We're still those ancestors too on that land. So to call us African Americans, that would mean to deny our indigenous American ancestors. Okay, yeah, we mixed in with y'all and we made one nation. That's what we are now. We're one nation now. Tariq in the field, and we capitalists at the ends. You know, I don't know what he got on, but he need to be nicer. Stop stop trolling them people. He just say the most ferocious stuff to these people. I said, boy, you're gonna have us into it and fighting with with them. Now we want to be nice with them. We want to be independent, but honey, the stuff that he be saying, all these insults, he got to bring it down a little bit with the insults because he can be ugly. I appreciate what he's doing, but the trolling, he has to calm down the trolling just a little bit. Okay. What do you get your energy back? All this. I call my energy back. All that is some shenanigans. What do you do to get your energy back? I do a lot of resting. You'll find that if you're a practitioner, you to be sitting down. You ain't got nothing to do. You can be sitting down, laying down somewhere. I do a lot of self care, a lot of self care. You'll notice that too. A lot of taking care of yourself. You be getting down somewhere and sitting down. You need it. Your ancestors tired. You don't need to be doing nothing. Them folks that did a whole bunch of you need to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. That's all you need to be doing, taking care of yourself. Okay, that's how you take care of your energy. Okay, this isn't talked about enough. You don't want us to know. Okay, you don't want us to know. I don't know what that mean, baby. I want to walk up to them and do what they did to me and take my energy back. I'm so sorry, baby. You can get it back. You can get it back. Get somewhere and sit down and rejuvenate yourself. Okay, you can get it back. Call it back. Ask for it back. Know that it's coming back. Okay. All right, you guys. And Kia said I'm indigenous. It's only a problem when FBA recognize our lineages. You know, they're fighting with that. My thing is, and they got a point now. FBA got a point because you're trying to absorb us, and then you look like you're trying to steal our identity. What's going on there, y'all? And then you know, and then I kind of agree with with Tariq Nasheed. You're not better than us. I don't know who told you that, but you need to stop. And Omar Johnson, or whatever the boy name is, a shoemake person, whatever his name is, he need to sit down somewhere with the Pan Africanism. He sit down somewhere. We're not them people. You lied, said you was some kind of Frederick Douglass. It just the lie. He definitely need to sit down somewhere and be quiet with the Pan Africanism and stuff. Now that and I believe that was created to absorb, again, to get rid of the original Afro indigenous people here. Okay. I think they got it out. They try to take that land. They trying to hurry up and disconnect us as much as possible and absorb us with other people. But honey, you know them folks. Some of these folks, the dark people, were already there. Now, when you brought them Africans in there, yeah, we taught them, we learned with them, we became one nation in. But that doesn't change the fact that the people still there. Stop shucking and jiving, okay? And Africans, you got to understand there was Afro indigenous people already there. There was copper colored people already there. Okay, and we came together because those oppressors. So we come together and became one nation. Okay, that's what happened there. Okay, we still our ancestors, our indigenous Americans that was over there. Now you can't say that wasn't over there because you got the pre-Columbian civilization. And then you tell people they just disappeared. Now they didn't disappear. You disappeared them with a damn pen and paper. That's what you did. And stop telling that lie. Okay. All right. And you got remnants of us everywhere, all in Arizona, all in South America, mounds builders and stuff everywhere. So we ain't went nowhere. We've been right here. You steady trying to change our name like you're doing the Latino people, the Mexican people. You keep doing that to us that experience diaspora. You keep doing that to us because you trying to keep us separated from who we truly is. And I wish the Latino and Hispanic people stop letting them change your name like that and go back to your indigenous uh, um to your indigenous roots. Okay, because they changing y'all name too. You ought to be tired of them. Tired of them changing our name. We went from black to Negro to African American. Hell, who else know that what they gonna call us over there? They changing y'all name too. If you ain't tired of it, hell, I am. Okay, you're not gonna keep calling me what you want to call me. That's not what my ancestors called themselves. Okay, this is interesting. Ask your ancestors to return that to sender or protection work. That's what I would do. Your satanic land, grab your gimmick. Honey, they done made it satanic. They need to get their ass up off their land. And it's time. Okay, it's just time for them to go. Because we waking up now. We starting to remember. Okay. We got love for the diaspora the same way they got love for us. I sure do. I got love for them. Okay. I got love for the Africans too, but we ain't gonna let y'all come in here and absorb us and tell us we don't exist. And so many ancestors then got unalived and marched and all this stuff. Now we ain't going out like that. Too many ancestors, we ain't doing it. Okay. Ain't nobody finna forget their ancestors because you trying to absorb us into you, and we feel like that you're trying to steal our identity. Because we are not, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but respectfully so, we are not the same. Okay, we're not the same. Okay. They didn't call us no African American. Not one time did I hear my grandma say we from Africa. I don't remember calling us that. Okay, now I heard my grandma, my great grandma, and my mama told me we had Blackfoot Indian. Now I heard that. I ain't heard no stories about coming from Africa. Have you? Okay. So you think, and you go back and look at your pictures, go look back and look at your photos and talk to your grandparents and stuff. We learn this stuff is Africa stuff in school. And then some of the Africans will tell us, no, you're not African. We knew y'all as Indians. We never called y'all African. We knew y'all was Indians. Our ancestors taught us that y'all was Indians. We know y'all ain't African. Okay? Some of them will tell you, no, we know y'all ain't African. Y'all ain't African, y'all Indian. We've been knowing y'all was Indian. Y'all don't know y'all Indian? You have other countries telling us who the hell we is because we don't know. You got somebody else. That's what I tell you. When you got somebody that's naming you stuff, that I didn't. We know who we are. white, black, and all. That's what you call yourself. You want to call yourself white, you go right ahead. Okay, they started that naming crap. That's how they do is categorize stuff, put labels on people. I have to go in here and show you stuff because they didn't categorize your ancestors over here in some bull crap. That's what they love doing. They love doing that stuff. That's what colonizers do. I even had you looking at the Pueblo people. Them people didn't even call themselves. Guess who called them that? The Spanish colonizers called them people Pueblo people. But that's not what them people call themselves. They calling your ancestors pre-Columbian civilization. That's not what your ancestors call themselves. You understand me? You got somebody naming the colonizer and the conquer naming you and then teaching you the frackanacka bull crap. That's what's going on. So they didn't have to give us reparations and land back. So a lot of people heard Indian when they were little and thought it was just me. No, their ancestors, they was trying to tell us, and then they didn't put so much fake Indians on there, them $5 Indians up there. So when you do tell people that you Indian, they think you playing because they used to look, they look used to looking at mongoloid, pale face looking folks. They don't know that the real indigenous Afro American Afro looks like you. You are the original. And then Native Americans think when we say we're indigenous and that we're Indian, that we're saying we're Native American. No, we're not Native American. They try to confuse you with that. Y'all are doing identity theft. They using y'all to try to replace us, but we're the real people from the land. No, we're not Native American, and we're not that. Y'all not even from America. You were born. You have people that were born here. Y'all came here from Asia, the Bering Strait somewhere. But we were already here when you got here. Okay? They already discovered that because they asked some people when they got to looking at those archaeological uh monuments such as the mounds and the pyramids and things, and they asked them Native Americans, did y'all build this? You know what they said? No, that was already here when we got here. Okay, so Native American, we ain't saying we you. We're saying we're older than you. Get it right. You are not us. We are not you. Matter of fact, you were government created people. You were government created. We're not that. Okay, the government created you because y'all get along. Y'all compromise yourself with them. Okay, and then when you go into Oklahoma, I lived in Oklahoma for a year. It tripped me out because I had never been around that many Indian people before. And so I was going in the store. It happened to me 2 or 3 times. The people was looking like me. I said, "What the hell am I looking at here? What is happening? What is happening?" And says, "What am I looking at?" Them folks look just like me. But being that you see them on TV, because a lot of the dark skinned Indians or whatever had to fight their way to get their rights up, up in there. You got some black ones up in there, but hell, them Native Americans don't even want them folks up in there. You hear me? But when I went to Tulsa, I seen a lot of them look just like me. I was in Arkansas one time, Indian woman. I thought that I called her black. She said, "I'm not that." I said, "What is you then? Because you look like a sister to me." I'm Indian. I said, "Oh, ancestors, what am I looking at again?" Okay. They didn't want them dark skinned Indians up in there. But see, now you're begging us to come in there because you know you ain't supposed to be where you at. Okay. The Grand Canyon is surreal. It looks man made. Okay. What do you think about the Egyptian artifacts they found in Grand Canyon? They already told you ancient Egypt is the Americas. America is the land of milk and honey. It is truly the beloved land. It is truly Tamari. They got you thinking that the real ancient Egypt is in the Middle East. It ain't no such thing, Lord. It's in Africa. But no, it's over there. That's the oldest land. That's why they're not gonna let you know a lot. They're gonna stick to Africa. They're trying to stick all indigenous people in Africa. I don't know why. You know damn well everybody ain't from Africa. You can find dark people no matter where you go. Start digging, digging, and digging. You're gonna see people look just like me that was first there. They're not all from Africa. That's the stupidest thing. You would have to be a new ignorant people to think that. Only new ignorant people on this earth would think that. And who knew on this earth? Who ain't been here that long? Only a stupid ignorant people would think that. Why would you try to stick that? We got black Polynesians, Melanesians, you got the Australians, you got the Samoans, you got the Maori people. You go looking at these people ancestors, they are dark. And them people that say they came from Africa. So just you got people over there in Nigeria, but one of them African nations saying they came from America. And if you look at some of the old Meg writings, they're telling you they've been going back and forth from Africa, dealing with them for a long time in some of those books. Look at the Mexican history. Because if you start looking at the Hispanic history and Mexican history, you start running again to your ancestors' history. Okay? It don't make no sense. Everybody black come from Africa. When everything started out melanated from the beginning, no matter where it was melanated people there. You sound stupid. And every time somebody come to me with that out of Africa theory, that don't even hold water no more. It doesn't make sense. Scientific, it don't make sense. There's too many black people in Asia and all these different places. It don't make sense. Okay, everybody ain't from Africa. It just don't make sense. And then they don't want you talking about ancient America. They're hiding it for some reason. They got pyramids on there they don't want to even uncover. Because if they uncovered that, that's going to tell a story. They covering this stuff, but if you look at how old the pyramids and mounds is compared to some of the artifacts you see in Africa, they're older than those artifacts over there. Okay, now they're telling you a little bit of that when they start honing in on the Aztecs and the Incas and the Mayans. They telling you what it is right there. That's why they're so fascinated with that culture. They're so because they know that is the ancient land. Okay, in the DNA test, them people's playing with stuff, girl. They messing with stuff with them DNA tests, and that trip me out. You gonna steal me from another continent, you say, and then you gonna charge me to find out who I am. Now y'all some raggedy folks. You just as raggedy as you want to be. Now, no, and I don't want you telling me nothing because you sit up and lie. That's all you do is lie, 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 and make it look real. That's all you do. So I don't believe nothing you say. I don't trust you. Don't want to be around you. So no, I don't. You think I'm gonna let you? Our ancestors wouldn't even trust them doing no DNA test. You have some of our ancestors hated, did not want no pale faced doctor touching on them. I know my daddy was like that. He did not want no pale faced doctor touching on him. He did not touch. They did not trust doctors. Why you think they was heavy in the hoodoo like that? They had their own medicine. They didn't trust them people. Them people looked at you like animals and cattle. They didn't think you had pain. That's why our ancestors had to come up with our own medicine and start treating and loving on each other because them folks weren't going to do it right. Shoot. Some of them still don't treat us right. We go in the hospital, they treat us like a dog. Okay? And look, timestamp, Armin said, AI is FBI. Somebody else had another theory about that, but I ain't going to even go into that. I kept y'all long enough. Uh, but I'll come back again and we'll have some more conversations. Okay? I love y'all. Y'all stay in the loop, and maybe the next time I'll come up here, we'll probably be talking about Obia. And if for those of you on the TikTok, you probably want if you're interested in knowing more about Obia, you probably want to get over there to YouTube because that's where he's going to be, and that's going to happen Friday. So if you're interested in knowing more about Obia, um, go join us on the YouTube channel because uh, he's going to be able to share a lot of information about Obia. Okay. Okay. You're welcome. Love you guys. You guys take care. Okay, y'all, TikTok family. Now, and I don't know if Nathan in here or not, but y'all be ready because we're gonna talk about OB again, and we're gonna have a special guest, and he gonna talk about it. Okay, so you have y'all pen and paper together. I'm kind of excited to see um how much lines up with what the ancestors told me when he gets to talking. So y'all make sure you subscribe and keep that bell on so you be notified when we go live. Okay. No, you okay. You okay, time stamping army. No, you on to something. No, you okay, sweetie. You say how you feel, express how what you think. You got your own thoughts. That's okay. Okay, I'll talk to y'all later.